Last time on Square Roots, Red 13 lets his true colors fly when he heads home to see his mean grandpa and his stoner father. Later, Aerith and Tifa try group therapy, Yuffie's on the chocobo, and Cloud does a smile. Say cottage cheese! Kitty.
Hello, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. I'm your host, the Goose, Matthew Van Zant, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friends, Johnny Nibelheimen, Brandon.
Oh, nibble on my hymen, please.
And Vanessa.
Oh, you guys.
My
No
boys
Jim this
need
week.
snacks.
He needed a week off. He's a busy boy, but the three of us will be more than happy to guide you through this journey that is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
I think that because, when
Do you guys want to do
Johnny's-
NPR voices the whole time?
No.
Well,
we tried
I would
that
do
once.
the Sierra Roots style, because I can definitely do that.
Yeah.
I wasn't here for it, and people like my deep, dulcet tones.
Well, that's wonderful. I think that's a really good voice, and that we should continue to do the entire episode like this.
Honka honka awooga!
Aww. You can't honka awooga an NPR voice.
I think that because when Johnny's not here, it's an American episode, and when I'm not here, it's lads.
Boys' night. Yeah.
I think that when Jim's not here, it's just a party time.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
That's what a no Jim episode is. The
Aw,
leashes
but-
are off.
But Jim's a party guy. Think about Jim. He loves to party. He
And
loves
Jim's-
ska. He loves
Yeah,
skating.
that's true. He does love that.
Mm-hmm.
Jim feels like a very grounding element sometimes, though.
Oh,
Jim's like
where
the
is Jim?
fulcrum.
Speaking of Jim.
I already said that he's off
Oh.
this week because he's busy.
Oh,
I said it.
okay. Is he busy with diarrhea? Or just busy?
I don't like that joke, and I don't think we should do it anymore.
Okay. Well, then never
He's
mind.
busy
you-
jacking
yeah.
off.
Okay, that's better. Just jacking it. Oh, boy. You saw
Busy
Scarlet again, this
gooning.
chunker, and couldn't. Yeah, he's gooning with his gooning face. Oh.
Moving this conversation on. Hey, as always, before we get into the quest log section of the show, we like to do a couple of small, quick segments that definitely won't run an hour.
Okay.
And the first of those is, of course,
X time.
Yeah, I think we should do
Hot
X
gaming
time.
news.
No, there's no hot gaming news. There's only X time.
Only X time.
X time will come. Don't worry. Hot gaming news. Dead by Daylight got a new killer.
Ooh, is it Magneto?
It's Dungeons and Dragons Vecna.
What?
Who?
Who also I think was the villain at the end of Stranger Things, though I didn't really finish that show, so I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know who
know.
that is.
It's real piss poor engagement out of the two of you, but okay.
Well, okay.
I
let
don't
me
know
try
who
to
it
think of
is.
something to say about this. Wow, that sounds scary. Most of the killers in that game are humans, but this is like a monster. What a crazy new era.
Is it a lady monster? Is it like a hot lady monster? Okay. She kind of had a lady monster style name. I was
What
like,
does it look like?
It's a lich from Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh,
I think it's a
lich.
tie-in to Dungeons and Dragons' next big campaign that comes out soon that's Vecna themed. I don't know. I thought it would be interesting. Here's another piece of hot gaming news. Square Enix is going to aggressively multi-platform in the future. That's relevant to this very episode.
Yeah.
I guess that they're not thrilled with the sales of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and they feel like it's probably, as Johnny said last week, because there's not a huge PS5 install base.
Yeah.
And that
Put
might
on
be because
PC.
nobody can get it for a fucking year.
I have 3 friends who are like, when is that coming out on PC? Because I really want to play it. I don't have a PS5. I'm like, gotta wait. You gotta
Maybe
wait.
eventually now. I don't,
I'm
initially,
sure.
I don't think it was.
I'm sure
but-
Sony gave them money to make it. What do you call it?
Yep.
What do you call that? Exclusive.
Yeah. Exclusive.
Exclusive.
Does anybody else have any hot gaming news?
Nothing super. There is now a fall 2025 release date for Grand Theft Auto 6 for fans of the series. For Florida,
I heard people
content.
are outraged by that new installment because you'll have to play as a lady.
Gasp. I wonder if it's going to be sort of like the Evie and what's his face, Jacob. Was that it from? Did you play that Assassin's Creed, the England one where?
I did not.
I like that
do
one.
believe there are 2-player characters that they've talked about for the upcoming Grand Theft Auto, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's a husband and wife or partners, I think. Which I think is kind of a cool idea. I still, you know what? I've softened. I've been replaying old Rockstar games and been real hit by that nostalgia bug. But we'll talk about that later.
Oh, there was one other thing, and I had it up, and then I lost it. Oh, I remember now. Speaking of gamers losing their minds, I guess people are real upset about this new Assassin's Creed game, huh?
Why? Which one?
Assassin's Creed, I believe it's called Assassin's Creed Shadows. Might be more to that title that I can't remember off the top of my head.
Why
and
are they
because
upset?
it's set in feudal Japan and stars a female ninja and a African samurai.
Oh, like
What?
Yosuke.
Yep, based on a real person, but that ain't good enough for fucking nerds on the internet.
It's not realistic.
But
not
it
realistic
was.
to have
It literally actually happened.
Yeah, it's not a realistic fantasy environment if I could see a black person.
I really don't even want to talk about it. I don't know why I brought it up.
Yeah.
The internet's the worst place on the earth.
It
Actually, that's not true. I mean,
is.
there are some pretty terrible places.
There are.
Yeah.
Let's name them.
Did make the
What?
mistake of
JK.
looking
JK.
at the Twitter.
Palestine, Ukraine.
Stop it.
That's just off
Florida.
the top of
No.
my head, two that are really bad.
Florida.
Knock it off.
Yeah, Florida's all right.
I made the
I
mistake
mean, the
of looking
politics
at
suck, but
Twitter the other day, and
why?
I don't know, but it's like, it's still so awful, and it's awful because the worst people are always the top comments because they're the people who paid for their dumb blue check mark. And so
It's true.
Oh yeah.
no matter what it is, the top comment is always something like horrible.
Well,
I actually downloaded a new social media app today called
sluts.
Maven.
Oh.
It's called Maven, and there are no likes
Oh.
or hearts or any of that, and it's just an algorithm based on your interests and not, as they said, a popularity contest.
But how can I get my little serotonin burst if I don't get my likes and hearts?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of the point, is that that's not good, and that maybe just a social media network that just kind of shows you stuff that you're interested in is better. And not,
Ugh, but I want my likes and hearts.
all right, get your likes and hearts. I don't care.
Get your
All right,
likes.
John,
Get
Vanessa
your
and I
hearts.
are going to spend quite a bit of time talking about X-Men. So why don't you start off our next segment and tell us how you leveled up?
Do you remember when there was that drawing of Puck that looked?
Do you remember?
I think that was before we were like virtually hanging out. There was a portrait of Puck, I think around 2013, 2014, that looked like it was traced from a photo of me. Like, it was so much like my face. Speaking of, well, he's not an X-Men. I know you got mad at me for suggesting he was
I
an
did
X-Men.
not get mad at you. I simply answered your question of whether or not Puck is an X-Man. He is not.
Okay.
He's a member of Alpha Flight, and I do not believe he is a mutant, though I could be wrong.
He's just super strong. I don't know what his powers are. Just looking cute and wearing tight little
agile.
lycra. Yeah, I know he's a little person. So I like using Puck as like my avatar and stuff, but I don't want to be like stealing actual little people's stuff, because he is a little person.
Yeah, you're being appropriative.
Yeah, I don't want to appropriate.
I don't know that he is considered a little person.
Oh, I thought he was.
He's
okay.
Short.
Oh, okay. So if he's just
Kind
like,
of depends on the art.
but isn't he shorter than Wolverine? Because Wolverine's my height.
Wolverine's already short. Yeah, you have to use Wolverine as your avatar. I'm sorry. I know
but
you don't
Puck is
relate to the
Canadian.
character. I know you don't like
He
it.
wears
Wolverine's
lycra.
Canadian.
He's
Wolverine
drawn
wears
like they
lycra?
traced my photos sometimes. I'll have to find that picture of Puck where he looks exactly like me because it was pretty funny.
I mean, I think any picture of Puck looks exactly
No, thank you.
like you.
That's nice because he's cute. He's a cute little guy. Okay, so I did buy a used rare video game off of the internet, which is a problem. A problem I have. The game, Matt hadn't actually heard of it. It's Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories, the PS2 version, not the PSP version, which you can find pretty easily.
You know what? I'm sorry. I'm going to interrupt you. I may be wrong. Puck may be a little person.
Yeah, I think he is. But I could be.
The John Byrne, who created the character, intended for the original Puck to be a dwarf with no superhuman powers. Subsequent writers retconned Puck's small stature as being due to mystical influences.
Ooh. Is that good or bad? I think it's bad for representation. But I've always liked Puck, is what I'm trying to say. As a short.
Oh, yeah. No, this says, then John Byrne commented that, of course, they went and did the origin of Puck, with the whole demon inside thing being based apparently on the single reference Puck had made to being in constant pain, something which they failed to grasp was an effect of the condition of dwarfism.
Yep. And now
Also, Puck's daughter is also known as Puck.
Oh. Not Lady Puck?
Daughter. You know what that
now
means.
Puck's daughter is a mutant. What do you know about that?
That Puck can fuck.
Oh, anyway. So,
Little people can
I
fuck,
picked
Vanessa.
up
Jesus Christ.
Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories, which is a spin-off of Vice City, originally released on PSP. It was super technically impressive on PSP, but they definitely it's weird because it's a few years. It was released on PS2 like 2 or 3 years after San Andreas, so it is a very late PS2 game. And they've got all the sort of stuff that they added for San Andreas into Vice City and some nice mishmash. Phil Collins is a NPC in the game who shows up to give quests, which is interesting. As himself.
As himself.
Yes, Phil Collins is a quest giver in Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories.
That's fucking weird.
I believe that for the promotional campaign for it, In the Air Tonight was used.
Weird.
Yeah. Anyway, it's super rare because it was such a late PS2 game. It's super rare on PS2, and I got it for like because right now it's listed at about 120 complete in box USD, and I got it for 50 USD, which isn't that bad. But I did have to get it off Facebook Marketplace, which is always a weird place to buy things.
That's sketch.
It's not that bad. I've bought tons of stuff off of Facebook Marketplace, but I feel like it's more of a like safer in Canada, and I feel that's bad to say, but I do think it is safer in Canada. I don't know. I've never heard of anyone having any bad times buying stuff off Facebook Marketplace in Canada.
I bought a laptop off of Facebook Marketplace once, and the password never worked. B, it smelled like the person that had it before me smoked a lot of crack cocaine around it. And C, I felt like I was going to get robbed when I went and picked it up.
That does not sound like a good experience.
That doesn't sound
didn't
sold
work.
it to
Maybe
me.
it was not their laptop in the first place.
Yep, that's kind of what I think. The one that sold it to me was pregnant and was like, I'm going to take this money and go to my podiatrist, my what's baby doctor?
Pediatrician.
Not child doctor, baby doctor, obstetrician. I'm going to go to my OBGYN appointment for my baby. And I was like, cool. And then as I drove away, I started walking down the road, and I couldn't help but think, like, are you sure you're not going to go spend that money on drugs? Because this laptop smells like drugs.
Seems like something someone would say to, like, get you to give them more money.
Yeah. Well, also when I met the person at a motel that I guess they were living at, and I walked in and looked to my left, and there was a man on a bed, completely covered head to toe in a blanket, and I was like,
Wow.
what's happening? I'm going to get murdered.
Yeah. I would
I got
say,
the
like,
fuck out of there.
don't go to that kind of situation anymore, ever again.
I mean, I haven't. This was several years ago. I haven't done it since.
Matt,
I
wouldn't meet them at the Starbucks.
Yeah, usually I meet. This was outside their apartment building, and you know, it's just a normal neighborhood. It wasn't. There's only a couple of places where I wouldn't meet someone in Vancouver. It's like Maine and Hastings. That's probably I wouldn't meet someone to buy a Facebook thing off there. And
Granville
I know that's a bit
Island,
classic.
it's full of
What's wrong?
improv actors.
Yeah. Oh God, you want to stay away from them. But yeah, Vancouver's a pretty safe city in general, and also time of day. Like it was nice. It was daylight outside. Lots of people were around. I did not feel unsafe. But doing it at like 11 p.m. in around like the industrial district, I wouldn't do that. You know what I mean. Anyway, so yeah, I got this game. Boy, that game's bad. I cannot believe that's a product Rockstar released. I mean, it'll be make great review material for the show because it is such a poor product. I'm like a surprisingly bad product released by Rockstar. So I think that'll be fun. As a review thing, I've been finishing up I record all my voiceovers. Oh yeah, Matt, you should do the Driver 3 line at the end of this.
Yes, remind me at the end before we log off. I will do it.
Yeah. And working on my Driver 3 review. I'll hopefully maybe have that edited this weekend. We'll see. It's going to be a long one, like an hour long, like one of those big YouTuber video essayists.
Yeah, I really am jealous of the fact that you're doing that. It's something I've actually wanted to do for a long time and just never bothered to do or learn. And I think it's really amazing that you're doing it. And I'm very impressed. And,
thank you.
I'm proud of you.
Oh, it's fun.
I'm proud.
I like doing it.
It's cool.
And it's fun.
I like watching the videos. They're good.
Yay. Otherwise, I went to a concert by the Go Team. It was really energetic and fun, but poorly engineered. That it's maybe the worst engineered concert I've ever been to.
But now, the engineer tends to be somebody from the venue, right?
Yes, I believe so. And this was at the Pearl on Granville. It used to be called Venue, but now it's called the Pearl. And I quite... but it's still a good show. But you could see like the mics were cutting out on the rapper, and she was getting a little frustrated. Which, I mean, that's hard. It's a hard job to be that energetic a rapper for 2 hours. She put on a 2-hour show.
Yeah.
And she was great. What a fantastic show. They did the entirety of their first album, Thunder, Lightning, Strike, which was a huge album for me. I think every song on it is great. And what a great album. And it was really emotional in a good way. Like, I wasn't crying, but I got a little teary-eyed maybe during some of the more pleasant, thoughtful songs. It was really nice to see the people that put it together doing it. Although the lead singer, she's not the songwriter. He actually just does instruments in the background. He does synth and harmonica and recorder and a bunch of other stuff.
Recorder.
There's several record. That's sort of the tone of that group is stuff like recorders and stuff that you'd associate with like double Dutch rhyming. There's a lot of double Dutch style chants and recorders and things like that.
I don't know what that means.
Do you ever hear the song "Gossip Folks" by Missy Elliott? No, the one that was like,
maybe, but
double
Dutch like jump rope.
Yeah, like the songs during jump rope. Yes, like playground songs.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha.
I don't want to quote double Dutch "Gossip Folks" by Missy Elliott because that would be severe appropriation and a bad impression. But, Anyway, what a great concert. I will now hand it over to Team X people, Vanessa
Okay.
and Matt.
That's us.
I actually have one thing I want to talk about first, which I'll quickly do, and then we can talk X-Men, and then Vanessa can have her, I'm sure she has something else she wants to talk about as well. Just warning listeners, X-Men season finale was last night, and Vanessa and I want to talk about it. I played a game called Animal Well. It was fucking fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Gorgeous. All right, let's talk about it. Animal Well is a new game. It is a 2D platformer in the Metroidvania style. It is a pixel graphics style game, but it has absolutely gorgeous lighting effects, absolutely gorgeous. What's what I'm looking for? Not character, not monster. Creature
Sprite?
design.
No.
The game has no dialogue. It has no text. It has other than menu stuff. There's not much of a plot to speak of. You are a blob, and you blob your way around this, what apparently is a well full of animals, or really more like a series of underground caverns. And you are kind of tasked, because the game doesn't say anything to you, but it shows you 4 flames, and you have to go find them all. And you also collect a bunch of eggs. I don't know why. And the game is gorgeous. It has absolutely gorgeous pixel graphics. It has absolutely amazing lighting and level design. And it has this great... all of the, in Metroidvanias, you get abilities or you pick up items that then allow you to progress further. Mm-hmm. And in this, it's items, and the items are just kind of household items. You have a Frisbee, you have a bubble wand,
Ooh.
you have a yo-yo, you get a Slinky.
Ooh.
It's one of those games that's very smartly made, where you get a tool, you use it in the clearly intended way, but pretty quickly you learn different ways to use those items that open the world up to you even more. It's very much the type of game that it wants you to think and solve, but it's not, I wouldn't quite call it a puzzle platformer. Because it is, you could call it puzzles to get around the environment and to get through the next area or whatever, but it's not something like Fez, where it's, here's your next puzzle that you're going to solve. It's more about traversal and finding and platforming, and it was phenomenal. Now, I did finish the game. I got 2 credits, and then I learned that there is more to the game. I'm going to keep playing it. I don't know. It feels like post-credits is more of a collect-a-thon of finding all the eggs. It's not like I'm going to be getting any more items that, traversal items or anything like that. But were some bosses. They're not, there's no combat, really. There are some bosses that are kind of puzzly bosses. It was a short experience, 6 or 7 hours, but I really loved it. Now, it helped that I had been kind of looking for a Metroidvania to play. I knew I was in the mood for one. In fact, just a week ago, I was looking through Game Pass to see if there was any Metroidvanias on there I hadn't played that I was interested in. So it came out at the right time for me. But Animal Well absolutely blew me away. I got it on the Switch for $22 because it was 10 or 15% off. And it was well worth the purchase. Absolutely fantastic game.
I do kind of want to play it, for sure. But I think I'm scared.
I think you would like it.
I'm scared away because I was so bad at Celeste.
I don't think it's like Celeste, because it's not. First of all, it's not a very hard game.
But do you mean actually not very hard, or not very hard for a gamer like you? Not very hard.
No,
yeah, pro
a
gamer.
lot of people online that I've seen discussing it have said it's not super hard. It's challenging. There are challenging parts. Celeste is fucking hard. Like, that's a game that I quit on, where I was just like, I don't like this. It's just a little different, and I think that if you picked it up, I think you would like it. I think it's fun. It's cute. There's great creature design, like I said, with all these different animals, some of whom will attack you, but most of whom won't. And just a lot of like really clever, like you feel smart. Like, let me give you one quick example. I found a flute, and I found a kind of a teleportation room with the flute that kind of lets you fast travel between areas in the game. And I did that for a while and cleared some areas and whatnot. And the one kind of complaint I had early on was like, well, it is kind of a pain in the ass to get from area to area once you've cleared them. And then I was back in the fast travel room, and I noticed, there was a ladder at the bottom of this room that I hadn't seen before. So I went down the ladder, and all that was down there was a fish in the water. And the fish popped out, and he looked right, and he was making noise. So he would look right, and then he would look left, and then he would look down, and then he would look up. And I pulled out my flute, and I did, because you play it with the analog stick, I did just on a whim, not because the game was telling me to do so, I thought, maybe this is telling me something. And it teleported me back to the fast travel room.
Wow.
And in that moment, I felt like the smartest fucking person on earth. You know? Like, the game does not tell you, there's no words on the screen telling you, hey, here's a thing you can do. You see it, you think about it for a minute, and you think about the tools that are available to you, and you realize, oh, maybe I could try this. And then it works. And it is legitimately, I might call it, for its genre, I might call it a damn near perfect game. I thought it was incredible.
Wow.
Okay, so that's Animal Well. I loved it. Hey, Vanessa, guess what I watched last night?
What did you watch last night, Matt?
X-Men 97.
Whoa.
Are Magneto and Xavier gonna kiss?
Wait, really?
Are they?
I mean,
Kind
John,
of.
I mean, they basically came out to each other in one scene, except for they were coming out as mutants, but boy, was it laid on thick. Like, there was no doubt what they were, what the metaphor was. Also, Magneto's hot in X-Men 97. Like, he's got... Vanessa, you explain it. Why is he hot?
He's super buff. He has long flowing hair. And
He's got like big lips or something.
he
I
has
don't know
big
what
lips.
it is.
He looks tenderly at Charles Xavier.
He really does.
No, it was... I had complained that, and I guess this is getting into spoiler territory. So overall, I think
we should say,
overall,
listeners.
yeah,
we're
overall
gonna be
we both
spoilery.
liked it. So if
I loved it.
that's what y'all want to hear, you can hear that. I already made my mea culpa in saying that I thought the first couple episodes were a little more juvenile than I was expecting them to be. And then the show does not stick with that tone at all. So it was almost more of a transition period between sort of the vibe of the old ones and moving to a much, much more adult place, I think.
Yes. Absolutely.
And I also complained after the penultimate episode that I didn't feel that Xavier's powers were being represented well. And I, again, have to do a mea culpa because the last episode was essentially all about how powerful he is and how it's terrifying, but because he's a good man, it works.
I agree with you. I think the first couple episodes are pretty engaging, and then I do think they kind of have I think that there are a couple of, like, I don't want to call them stinkers. Like, they weren't bad episodes, but they had some bland episodes in there. Part of that was Life Death, which, like, I've read Life Death and I've never cared for Life Death. So them doing Life Death, which is is a Storm story, who I fucking adore Storm, but it just didn't like get my gears going. And there was some Jubilee stuff, who I love and I didn't dislike, but then there was some Mojo stuff, and I do fucking hate Mojo stories. Just get out of here with Mojo. Always the worst. But they do, about halfway through the season, they do a genocide
Yeah.
The humans do a genocide on the mutants. And it just fucking rolls from there and continues to get darker and more mature. It handles the themes shockingly well. Mm-hmm. And the season finale was a real kick in the teeth. It left, we don't want to spoil, I guess, the very end, but it left things very open on what's going to come next. Mm-hmm. And I was reading that they had the showrunner, and I guess they fired him right before it started. But he went ahead and continued talking about it throughout the season on, presumably, Twitter. And I did see some stuff from him today that he was not just implying, he was outright stating that one character definitely has the hots for another. And that is Morph and Wolverine.
Nice.
Well, you saw the end there when he does some stuff that you're kind of like, I was watching and was like, oh, this is, I see what's happening here. But that was more overt, whereas the Xavier Magneto stuff is more of a metaphor. But boy, are there multiple scenes in the finale where I was like, they're going to kiss, right?
Yeah.
Like they're about to kiss.
Well,
are they going to kiss? They should kiss.
Even in, I think, the first episode, when Wolverine's sulking, Morph goes out and, morphs into Sabretooth to get him to, chase him and fight him. And it's a very kind of sweet way to cheer up Wolverine.
Well, so I did watch the original series over a few weeks while this was coming out. And, Morph is complicated. I mentioned this last night. I was kind of looking into it. Because Morph is not a traditional X-Man. And really, Morph is based on a X-Men villain called Changeling that died very early in the 60s era of the X-Men. And when they were making the original X-Men the animated series, they wanted a character to kill off in the first episode. And that is why Morph is an X-Man. But of course, they brought him back as kind of a villain. He was under Sinister's control. Then he broke the control, but he refused to come back to the X-Men because he was traumatized. And it was only the end of that series that Morph kind of comes back and is like, I'm an X-Man again. And that was the end of the series. So now we've got this relaunch, and they brought the character, and they kind of have to bring him back and use him. And now I shouldn't be saying he. They specifically said that Morph uses they, them pronouns. Mm-hmm. Which I really didn't notice much in the show, but that's fine.
Yeah, me either, but whatever. I also felt like it gave Scott a pretty good character moment, which I think he's overlooked by modern writers a lot because he has the reputation as being boring. But I appreciated that they allowed him to sort of be a character and not just a cardboard cutout.
I'm sorry, who? Oh, Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a big fan of Cyclops, and he definitely can be written as just the kind of Boy Scout leader that, everybody rubs against and is frustrated with. But he also can be well written and interesting because it is a difficult thing that he does. Knowing the X-Men as I do, I know that. And this season did a big Magneto was right thing. Was kind of the theme of a couple of the episodes. Mm-hmm. And knowing the X-Men as I do, I know that Magneto was right was a thing that then transitioned into Cyclops was right. And I wonder if that's where they're going to go with that. Because Cyclops in the comics is definitely, as the years have gone on, has become a real middle ground between Xavier and Magneto, where Xavier is more about pacifism and, peace by,
coexistence,
non-aggression, coexistence, but also non-aggression. Whereas Magneto is the exact opposite, and Cyclops has kind of landed in the middle of I will fight to protect my people, I will do terrible things, but I'm not trying to wipe out or subjugate the human race. I do want to coexist, but also I'm not going to let them fucking kill us, which is kind of the most reasonable position. Honestly, I wonder where they're going to go with that. The season finale was wild. They set a lot of stuff up that we probably shouldn't dive into, but just overall, I have to say, X-Men the Animated Series is one of my very favorite cartoons as a Saturday morning cartoon boy of the 80s and the 90s. I was excited about the idea of them relaunching it, but I didn't have high hopes for it. And it absolutely blew my expectations away. I'm shocked at how good it was, at how much better it was than I really ever expected it could be.
I'm happy for you, I'm happy for me, and I'm happy for everyone who got to watch and enjoy the show or will watch and enjoy it in the future. Now I wrest control from you, Matt. X time is over.
Yes.
It's time
I have to
for
go run do something anyway.
Vanessa's Tale and Level Up. I want to talk about 2 games I played. I played a game called Norco, which is sort of a point-and-click adventure throwback style game. It's pretty short. I think it was only like 8 hours at most. Maybe not even that. Set in kind of near future Louisiana. And it was okay. It's one of those games that has the Disco Elysium tone, which is very popular these days. Very sort of art housey in what it's doing and presenting. But I didn't feel like the ending really came together in a satisfying way. And that seems to be a shared consensus by most people. It was very kind of vague and odd. I also played a game called Kona. Kona is also a adventure puzzler. This one's first person though, and it has a little bit of combat in it. It is set in Quebec in I think the 1960s, and you play as a detective meeting a client in this little town. You get there and no one's around, and you have to kind of wander about town and figure out what's going on, and occasionally get attacked by wolves. That's right.
Ooh.
The bane of Canadians everywhere. Wolves.
Kona.
Hell's own howlers. The
But you kind of
canines.
You were first saying you think I'd like it, and then you switched around on it. I don't know.
That's right.
So why is that? Why do you think I would not like it?
I don't think it would be good for me to say on air.
Okay.
We talked about why I didn't think that you would like it.
I'll have to go back and look through that. I don't remember, but I
mean, you don't have to be so vague about it. It's Canadian Sasquatch that.
Oh, that's why. Okay, yeah. I remember. Okay.
Yeah. So it has some appropriative elements of native culture, I think is the best way to put it.
Yes. Sorry. I forgot.
And it really does. It's not just kind of popping up. It's like there are native characters, and they're portrayed in sort of the way you would expect that they might be, which is not great. It's that whole Native Americans are werewolves, Twilight shit. So, that was Kona. It was okay. I can't really recommend it though. I didn't think it was worth it by the time I was finished with it. Did have kind of an interesting element where you have to stay warm, so your time exploring around is limited, and you have to make sure you always have fire starting materials and find places where you can start fires.
Twisted fire starter.
Twisted fire starter. I think the map was pretty small overall, but it made it feel a little bit bigger because you couldn't be out in it indefinitely. So that was an interesting game mechanic choice. Other than that, I started watching Baby Reindeer. I'm not finished yet. It's a very offensive show to me personally. Frizzy haired brunette who loves British stand-up comedians, and I don't know why they made a show about me. It's awful.
Oh, then why are you watching it?
Because it's a really good show. It has a really good performance. And
sorry, I took you saying it's awful to that. You didn't like it.
No. I mean, it's awful that they made a show about me. And when I say about me, I really shouldn't be joking about it. I mean, the woman it's about was very mentally disturbed and obsessed with a British stand-up comic in a very unhealthy and bad way.
Oh.
Yeah. But luckily for me, as much as I fear I might become that type of fan, I'm too lazy to send even one email, let alone 400,000.
And it's not like your bedroom faces a apartment complex where you can use your binoculars to spy on people and fall in love with someone you've never met and maybe witness a murder.
I wish. I mean, it would make my recuperation so much more fun if I could solve some murders while I was up in here.
That's
But
true.
no. Yeah. Other than that, that's what I've been doing. Started my outpatient physical therapy. That's very exciting. And it's all progress. I'm so tired all the time. Okay, moving on. I guess I'll sing into the quest log.
Okay.
I had a song I wanted to do for the quest log, and I remembered.
Yeah.
All right. Is everybody ready for the quest log?
Yeah.
Quest log. Gimme the quests, cause I'm gonna do them.
That was great.
That might not hit with all of our listeners, but it hit with me pretty well.
Before we start
did
the
a great
quest
job.
log, I just have to give a quick apology. I told on our stream, I joined Matt on his Matt and Jim fun stream yesterday. I told viewers that there was the sequel to In the Name of the King, A Dungeon Siege Tale, was a time-traveling... was a story about time-traveling Jean-Claude Van Damme as a cop who goes back to fantasy times. It wasn't Jean-Claude Van Damme. It was Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah,
Very different.
That's a wildly different. That's wildly different. I was almost tempted to go watch that movie when you said that, and now that I know that it's Dolph, I'm 100% out.
Wow.
He doesn't like, was it PhD having scientist Dolph Lundgren? know
I
he has,
guess
like,
you could say that he's not a Dolph fan. He's not a Dolph fan?
I got it.
He's not a Dolph fan.
I got it.
It just, we weren't discussing dolphins, so it doesn't really vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool that he's like really smart and has a PhD. He is one of the worst actors I've ever seen in anything in my life, and I have very little interest in anything he's in.
He dated Grace Jones for a while. They were quite the power couple.
That was good.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, because they're very powerful.
They're very strong.
Very strong.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to this questy log. So I did catch. I squeaked by finishing this chapter, literally minutes before we started recording. It was definitely a close one. But I did.
All right. Well, do we just want to talk about the end and wrap this episode up?
Well, I'm just.
No.
No, I'm glad, Johnny. I'm glad you caught up.
Yeah.
I'm very happy.
I did catch up, even though I did play for like 14 hours. It turns out that was all stupid Chadley garbage.
Yeah, I mean, that's been my problem. I am at about 85, 90 hours into this game, and I'm not thrilled about that. But I do have to blame myself because I have been doing every Chadley mission.
It's
They're
hard to say
fun.
no to that.
Yeah, that's kind of the
beautiful
only
blue
part of the
eyes.
game that I really like is when I'm
I don't
doing
like those
Chadley
side
missions.
quests though. Those feel like pulling teeth.
No, those are terrible.
Ugh. Why are they so bad?
Sometimes I like the main quest. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes they're okay, and sometimes they're not. You know, like the Nibelheim flashback at the beginning was fun. You know, such a puppy.
Matt is so hot for Sephiroth.
Yeah, it's weird.
mean,
I think
it's
Matt's
weird.
this game's unlocking something.
Yeah.
I hope
Awakening.
this doesn't
Something.
awaken anything in me. I mean, between Sephiroth and Magneto, I might have a thing for white-haired dudes that I never realized I
Yeah,
had.
kind of femme white hair dudes.
Yeah, kind of femme white-haired dudes. I mean, it's all right. Well, we don't need to dive into every complaint I have about this game. I like this chunker overall. I want to say that up front because I know that people don't like it when I'm super negative. This was a good chunker. There were some parts that really fucking drove me nuts, but we'll get to them.
Well, we get to Nibelheim, which you might remember.
Nibelheim.
One thing I like about
I believe in
Nibelheim,
the first chunker we agreed that it was called Nibelheim.
right? One thing I like about Nibelheim, is that it kind of looks like the logo to the game, like all the rocks kind of have that, you know how the logo to the game is that meteorite, like sort of flaming towards Earth, and all the rocks are at that angle. I thought that was kind of a neat visual continuity. I like this area.
Interesting observation.
So you get there are lots of people in black robes around, which I feel like this game's leaning a little hard on the people in black robes at this point. I'm a little sick of people in black robes. I don't know about you two.
Do you just not like their style? Like, you think it's
I
not
just
cute?
feel like
What's the deal?
it's been like 20 plot points where suddenly, oh, it's one of those people in black robes again, and it's like, okay. I don't know, it was a little side thing in the original game, and it's dominating so much of the plot in this game where they're everywhere and you're following them.
Okay, so I want to say I have been, mostly because Jim keeps talking about the huge plot changes in this game that I keep thinking of as not really that big of a plot change. I did decide to watch a Let's Play of Final Fantasy VII, and I actually disagree with you. The black robes are a fucking huge part of that game. It is very much like this. They're everywhere you go. You are constantly running into them. In fact, in Nibelheim, in the original, it's the same thing as it is here. They're all over this town.
Oh, wow, I don't remember that at all.
They're all being treated for Mako poisoning. It's a little different because... I'll never know if it's translation or just shitty writing. I think it's shitty writing. I don't think it's translation. But in the original, they just are trying so hard to never explain anything to you until they unload everything at the very end of the game. Whereas this game does set this stuff up a lot better.
Okay.
But definitely the black robes, the numbers, all of that is a huge part of that game. You were running those guys fucking everywhere.
And there's a chocobo you can find right away. You have to do. I think
it's kind of the first quest you do.
This is the most annoying part. Chocobo quest so far. I don't know if this is the last chocobo quest, but I really didn't like this.
I think it must be. That's weird because this kind of was the easiest.
Not
because
for Johnny.
If you're hugging the minecart, even if you're standing in front of the chocobos, they can't seem to be able to see you.
There was no minecart.
Oh, no, this one doesn't have a minecart. You're right. Oh, yes, this is the throw the fruit to make it. Yeah, I didn't find it that tough. I did not find it that tough.
I just wasn't good at it.
Couple of misfires, for sure.
There's a box mini game later, throwing boxes at boxes, that I got 2 out of 10 for, and that still let me go on anyways.
Nothing makes me angrier than the fact that
Barrett has a gun.
Exists.
Barrett has a gun.
Has a gun. That fucking infuriated me. It also is just very poorly implemented.
Yeah.
And
you couldn't retry it
on the box mini game too, I think.
I did not bother. I don't care because here's the secret. Nothing in these boxes is worth getting. Oh, more crafting materials. Hooray. Some high potions. Get the fuck out of here with your high potions. I
did like rolling
million.
Kate Sith through the boxes, though. That was pretty fun.
I did like that as well.
That was
I did like that as well.
I did roll him through every single box that I could.
Yeah, same. This game has done a lot to rehab Kate Sith's character.
I hated the first time I played the game. I hated him. When I played the game with you guys, I liked him better. I understood the character more. I don't think I ever understood that Reeve was controlling him the first time I'm
not sure that it's explicit. I will find out soon. I'm at the end of this Let's Play, and the streamer, it's Maximilian Dude, did just have a chat with his chat about it, where the chat was saying that Reeve was on screen. They're like, Reeve, that's Kate Sith, and he was kind of going, is he? I don't know about that. So we'll see if it is explicit in the game.
I like how it's handled in this chunker, where suddenly Kate Sith won't talk. That was really fun. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But so this bird you find, its superpower is farting water.
No, sir.
Squishing water?
This bird's superpower is piss.
Oh.
This bird pisses.
I guess that's what pissing
hard
is. It's farting water.
Long. Oh my God. You don't piss out of your butt, John. If you are pissing out of your butt, John, I need you to go see a doctor.
Though, right? Because they just have a cloaca.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Vanessa's right.
Yeah.
But wait. Okay, so anyway, this thing has such a strong stream of piss that it can fly 100 feet in the air. Mm-hmm. I do want to say this. The piss flying is the best. Listeners, I hope you like hearing the word piss because I'm about to say it a lot. The piss flying is the best version of the chocobo we've had in the game so far. I loved running this chocobo around Nibelheim. I loved floating over the oceans and collecting chocobo fruits or whatever the fuck they're called. I love that if you're on land, the chocobos can only float about 5 or 10 feet off the ground, and when they do that, it does look like the power of their massive farts. Mm-hmm. But when they are flying over water, that is when they are just pissing so hard that they're floating 100 feet above the water. It's such an insane...
It was quite the choice.
Such an insane choice. I took some screenshots because mostly from the angle that the game automatically puts the camera at, it just looks like a stream of paint coming out of this fucking chocobo. Like there is, if you angle it down, there's like a magic ball of water that it's firing water out of or something. But boy, does it not look like that. It sure does just look like the strongest stream of piss you've ever seen in your entire fucking life. It's wild.
I was proud of myself. I got Bahamut Arisen without getting all the shrines.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was.
I haven't even attempted that.
It was not a tough one. I found
I think it also, but I think if you get the shrines, it also gives them like more abilities.
Yeah, no, I got them all after, but I was like, I might as well do this now and try it out because I unlocked Kujata. I was like, let's try Bahamut. I got 2 out of the 3 shrines, and it was pretty easy. There's also a boss rush in this. Like the end of this chapter has 4 bosses in a row, and the first one where you're just as Kate Sith is the hardest one for sure.
Yes, I had to redo.
I died a couple of times.
Failed it 3 or 4 times, and then had to put it down for a couple of days, and then I came back and did it in one go.
Yeah, it took me 2 tries or 3 tries to get past Roche because I wasn't blocking properly. But if you parry Roche, it's real easy, and I just used that improved parry timing.
Why are we getting so far ahead?
I don't know, because there's not a lot.
Okay, there is a lot. We go all the way back to the fucking reactor, and then we have a huge fucking section of the mansion.
Right,
not to mention what happens with the Moogles.
Not a lot happens.
Well, and not to mention what happens in Nibelheim.
Ooh, I didn't do the Moogle section here.
Well, we're going to talk about it because it's the best part of this fucking game.
All right, so we follow the Black Robe people to Nibelheim, where there's tons of them. Yep. A Shinra guy says that...
I don't know that there's anything I enjoy more in the recording of this podcast with my friends than correcting you to make a name stupider. Mm-hmm. Nibelheim. Mm-hmm. Sexaroth.
Yes.
But
I know it was Slutteroth, first of all. Get your jokes right.
It was both. We did both.
I think it was
Slutteroth. Bam-bams.
It was. I definitely did a lot of Slutteroth, too.
So a Shinra guy tells us Shinra has assumed direct control of Nibelheim, which sounds like a Mass Effect thing.
Well,
assuming direct
you got to point out, it's a big plot point here is that Tifa and Cloud are expecting to find a ruin. Mm-hmm. They watched this town burn down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when we get to Nibelheim, and it is not just rebuilt, but rebuilt to look exactly the same, they are struggling. What is going on?
Yeah,
here?
That's some real gaslighting. Like, it's pretty fun.
Which is, again, it is true to the original, but the original does like a real piss poor job of getting this across. Mm-hmm. And it is filled with the black robes, and we quickly learn that the town has become a refuge for black robes, which everybody thinks has Mako poisoning. We know better, but
then why are they all wearing? Is a symptom of having Mako poisoning?
At the end of this,
robes
you're going to learn at the end of this chunker
appear on your body.
That's exactly what happens.
I know.
That's exactly what happens.
I know it is, and that was hilarious.
Yeah, it was fucking hilarious, but kind of sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
What if I liked Roche? I hated him, but I kind of liked him.
Yeah.
Everyone likes Roche. He's our best friend.
We quickly, as always in this game, we quickly meet the mayor of the town who our characters tell, like, we grew up here, so what the fuck is this? And he flat out tells us, which I gotta be honest with you, I really appreciated that they were just straightforward, like, oh no, we rebuilt the town, we filled it with in the original, it's actors. In this one, it's Shinra employees.
Yeah.
That's a big, it's not a
And
big
the original,
change, but it's a
they
change.
didn't tell you, like, the people in the town were just like, leave us alone, get out of here. In this one, they're still like that, but they're like, oh, but also we rebuilt the town.
Yeah, they're not hiding it.
Yeah.
They're also,
and
like, a
the
little in the
mayor does
middle.
tell you, like, hey, maybe get the fuck out of here, though. Don't stick around.
Yeah. But they say like, oh, we understand you want to see your old home, but move on quickly. Please.
Yeah, they don't want you here. Well, and then again, we are a group of terrorists who have been bombing and killing our way across the world.
But Tifa
And
doesn't
now,
have bangs.
killing specifically Shinra employees, and now we are in a Shinra employee town. So I can understand why they're like,
but-
get the fuck out of here.
No, we have an employee of their amusement park with us. So we're all good.
I mean, I don't know that people think of Kate Sith as an employee of the amusement park so much as like a feature or attraction
Right.
that maybe we've stolen. I mean, if I go to Disney World and I steal a statue of Mickey Mouse, am I like, look, I got one of you with me?
I mean, at least, living by yourself, stealing one of the Hall of President animatronics and like having him stand in the kitchen, be like, and program him to say, what's a president? Elmore Leonard.
Barack Obama.
No, let's go
Leonard.
back.
That's a writer.
Which
I'm
Abraham
Eisenhower.
Lincoln, will that work for you?
I'm Eisenhower. Welcome to your dining room. Would you like some breakfast? I mean, I can
That
understand
sounds
that.
amazing.
Yeah.
is
It
that
sounds
the one
amazing
that you
for
would
like a
steal,
week,
Johnny?
and then you're like, shut up.
No, I'd steal Taft because he's the big boy.
Oh,
So big he broke his tub.
He got stuck in it. He didn't break it.
I'd steal Teddy Roosevelt and then just like punch him occasionally. Like,
According to Elliot Kalin, that's probably
were a
a
piece of
lie
shit.
made up by his like bitchy butler who
Yeah,
wrote a tell-all
of
novel.
course. I'd steal Franklin Delano Roosevelt because he'd give me a New Deal.
Aw.
listen, in early 1900s or late 1800s, fat ain't 2024 fat, baby. Like,
It's
I
not
can't
my-
break a
my
tub,
500
so I
pound
doubt. I doubt Taft broke a fucking tub.
I've been thinking recently about how in like American elementary school, we are literally taught that George Washington never told a lie. And that's ridiculous.
I was watching something and they're like, which probably it was a mental floss list, and they're like things you believe that aren't true, and one was like that George Washington never told a lie. Like, you're really taught that in school? Like, that's like teaching that Paul Bunyan created the Grand Canyon because he dragged his axe along the ground.
Right. Yeah, no, it's like it's generally like, I don't know if still, but it was taught that, and it's like, no wonder people have this weird like worship thing going on with the founding fathers. We're kind of taught that they're these mythical creatures who literally could not lie.
I don't think so. I disagree. Here's the thing. Yes, they do teach that in elementary school as like a fun tale about him chopping down a cherry tree. By the time you get to middle school, they're not still like, remember how George Washington never lied? Like, you are
I
supposed
don't
to age
know.
up enough to realize that the fairy tales that you heard as a child are not true.
I still
You know
think
what?
it's weird, bro.
We did. I'm trying to
But
think.
it's just a
we
tall
did
tale
hear-
about George Washington. We learned Paul Bunyan too. You don't think Paul Bunyan was real? It was a giant man with a giant blue ox?
What do you mean Paul Bunyan wasn't real?
What do you mean Paul Bunyan wasn't real?
Who'd they make
No,
the
we're not
giant
doing this.
pancakes for,
Okay?
then?
You're just going to bite me. You're going to bite me, and it's going to suck. Get out.
I'm gonna
Go
bite
away.
you if you keep telling lies about Paul Bunyan.
It's true. A lot
What
of Paul
about
Bunyan
Johnny
talk now.
Appleseed?
My
Well, no,
cat
he
snuck
was
in
real,
while I ran to
and
grab a
he is
beer.
the reason there is a variety of apple species across the U.S.
Well, see,
I mean, I don't
it's
know that the
very
man's name was
confusing.
Johnny Appleseed, and I don't know that the story itself is real. But again, John, just like with George Washington chopping down the cherry tree and never telling a lie, you're supposed to realize that this is a mythical story that you're taught when you're a child, and when you're an adult, you understand that people aren't really like that.
But they do
I don't.
Matt.
I feel like we
Yeah,
don't
they do. I remember my kids
mythologize.
learning that
Maybe
a few
we.
years ago.
I feel like
No, I
maybe
mean
there
that
are
people don't
elements of Canadian
understand
history.
that.
Nothing
Not
to
true.
mythologize, John.
What are you talking? I'm in a country with a past and a history, and
I mean, you think that you don't mythologize things, but you still like worship a king or a queen, and you're like, oh, God, ordained by God.
That's what Johnny says all the
you
time.
you are
The King of England is still the head of the fucking church, though, right?
well.
Am I wrong?
The Church of England. That's not our church.
Johnny sent me
Is there
the
a
new
Church of
portrait
Canada?
of like Charles that looks like he's just drenched in blood.
It's the
And he was
official
like, "Look
portrait."
Who God ordained to be my king.
I think it's awesome.
No,
think
I said
thing
that
is-
was Dragon
this
Age
is
art.
legit opinion. I think it's awesome.
It is. It's a really good painting, actually.
It does
I
look
don't know if
like
I,
Dragon Age
choose
art.
it to represent me, but yeah, I like it.
I don't know that he chose it to represent him so much as chose an artist to do a portrait, and that's what he got.
Yeah, and it's a very avant-garde, like of the era portrait. I think that's totally fine.
I mean, the face still looks good. It's more impressionistic than typically you would expect from a portrait, but also like it's 2024, dog. Like we don't need Rembrandt style fucking realism for our portraits. You could just take a picture. There will be
Famous
pictures
Matt
and
quote,
videos.
It's 2024, dog.
It is 2024, dog.
Boy, that quote's only going to be good for like 6 more months.
I know. So, Kate Sith does run off to the town hall to use the computer. He's like, it's
Which
fine.
he's allowed to do because he's a theme
Yeah.
park employee.
Theme
I
park
mean, he does
employee
bully
cat.
his way into it. The guy's like, what? And the cat's just like, yep, I'm a robot cat, and I'm going to go use your computer. Mm-hmm. This world has poor internet technology security. You know what I mean? Like, they just don't have it.
Do you think that
I bet
if,
these people
like,
get fished all the fucking time.
if mascot Mickey Mouse, like from the theme parks, showed up at Disney headquarters, he'd be allowed to just go use a computer?
But is he actually like the size and looks like the
that's the
animatronics
thing.
for Kate Sith is really good.
Yeah, you're right.
With Mickey Mouse, it would be tricky because he'd be mouse sized, right? Would he be mouse
Mickey Mouse
sized?
isn't mouse sized. He's like 3 feet, maybe.
Yeah.
So
He's little person sized.
if Mickey Mouse, if you were, say, you were a low level employee at Disney,
Puck sized, John. if
and
that
you
helps.
managed one of their access terminals, and a 3-foot tall animatronic Mickey Mouse came in and said, "Oh, I gotta use your computer real quick." Would you be like, "Oh, sure,
I would
Mickey,
go
you
home
are
for
the
the
head of the
day.
company"? Sorry.
No, I just go home. I would be like, no.
No, I agree. I'm out. I don't know what's
I'm not
happening.
dealing with
Well,
this.
if Mickey Mouse showed up with a group of terrorists and was like, "Can
Well, that's-
we use your computer?"
That's the plot of Kingdom Hearts, Matt.
No,
I'm
Mickey
here with
Mouse
the
isn't
IRA,
with you.
and I
It's
really
Donald
need to use
Duck
your
and Goofy.
access terminal.
Well, but also Cloud and Leon and, Sephiroth.
Yes. I'm sorry. I withdraw my IRA comparison. It would be like if Mickey Mouse showed up with Stop Oil Now.
Speaking of terrorist comparisons, Glenn Rothrock's video at the end, like they made it look
Stop
like an.
talking about stuff that happens
I
at
don't
the end.
ca-
Can
who
we
cares?
just go
Who
through the
cares?
notes? Me,
This is
because
why
we're gonna have
we
to
need
circle
Jim.
back around
This is
to
what I'm
it.
saying about Jim
Okay.
being the linchpin. We
All right.
we fly out into multiple directions like a kaleidoscope of light when he's not here.
So you can wander around Nibelheim. You get some lovely relationship talking stuff. I did end up on the water tower with Aerith. I didn't want to deepen my relationship with Aerith. I'm trying to deepen my relationship with Barrett, and I maxed out with Aerith accidentally right here.
This is
I
terrible.
made a mistake as well. I've been trying to deepen my relationship with Tifa. Somehow I maxed out my relationship with goddamn Red 13.
Oh,
I'm really
you.
excited for you to date Red
I'm going to have to
13.
kiss that dog. I want to kiss that dog.
He's gonna lick the inside of your mouth,
Oh, no.
just like a real dog will if
Just
you're
like a
not
real
careful.
dog, yeah.
You're like, oh hell, oh God!
Oh no! I don't want to be around a dog.
Well, because dogs will, like, if you aren't paying attention, sometimes be really gnarly to you.
Yucky.
Yeah. Well, thank God Jim's not here tonight then, because
He wouldn't let us
he's
tell
a
us.
real dog. Dog pound? Right,
Dog
Jim?
pound!
Jim, cut yourself in here saying something.
Yeah.
Saying dog pound.
Dog pound.
Pound it. Pound his nuts. All right.
I did go to the hotel where you get a vision. Although I did like the scene with Aerith, like looking around. So you sit up with
I
Aerith.
did too, and also I like that you see Tifa
Waving
in her home
weirdly.
window, in her own bedroom window,
Yeah.
and they kind of wave at each other. Like, isn't this fucking awkward? It was fun.
Huh? Oh,
Well, and
you're on a
Aerith also
date.
asks Cloud, she's like, did you used to go up here and, like, watch Tifa in her room? And I told her, like, yep, that's what I did.
She says, did you used to come up here and hope that you would see Tifa? Like, you would hope that she would see you and, like, wave at you or acknowledge you. That's what they're talking
My
about.
answer was, sounds like something
Not
I
him
do.
fucking stalking
Yeah.
her. Yeah, me too.
I did go talk to Tifa in her room, and that was fun. I didn't get a chance. It didn't let me play her piano. Oh no, it did, but I didn't. There was no new music there, and I did not let me go through her underwear drawer this time. I guess it would just not. It would be someone else's underwear.
I did play Tifa's theme on the piano while I was up here, and it's great because if you play, people around will clap. So I played her the song, and then it's just like her clapping by herself. It's like,
Aw,
eh, eh.
it's nice. She's
Matt,
so
how's your,
supportive.
Yeah. Matt, how's your quest to master every piano song going?
We talked about this last week.
He gave
I
up.
Keep bringing it up
already
until
admitted.
you stick to your word and do it.
I was forced to play, this is Next Chunker stuff, but I was forced to play the piano for a side quest, and I did get an A rank on my first try.
Nice.
That was
Wow.
Aerith's theme.
Mm-hmm.
I left it open-ended last week. I might sit down at the piano at some point before the end of the game and try to do the star rating like I said I was. But also, like, when the last song I did, which was the second one, I did it, and my fucking hand hurt for a week. So I don't think I'm gonna.
You know what?
I'm not gonna injure
the
myself.
game should give you the option to just set up your own piano and actually play the song and turn the mic on your controller on and be like, look, this is real playing the real song, not controller playing, and it's actually about as difficult. So I might as well do the real one, which is something Matt said before, like why learn to do it fake when you can learn.
Yes, that was my big. I loved Guitar Hero and
yeah.
Rock Band, but I would hit a point in those games where I realized like I have to if I want to progress, I have to practice this song. And why the fuck would I waste my time practicing to learn to play a fake guitar and not just a real guitar? And so I bought a guitar and did not learn how to play it. I can play some chords. I can do a chord or two.
So if you Cloud goes upstairs into the hotel and sees himself talking to Zach, he remembers Zach is like, his name was Zach Fair. We were both soldiers. We were soldiers together, and I definitely was a soldier. And we were soldier buddies. What happened to Zach? Where is Zach?
Yeah. Well, and he's kind of like, why did I forget him?
Yeah, he assumes it's that he's getting memory loss from the Mako, like the Leon and friends in Final Fantasy VIII got memory loss from the Guardian forces.
This aggravated me because when I got this cutscene, I immediately ran straight back to Aerith on the water tower and was like, I wanted to be like, Aerith, I just fucking remembered Zach. And instead, Aerith's like, I don't really want company right now. And Cloud's like, okay. And that's it.
I wonder what her reaction would have been if you had done that. She probably would have been like, that's great.
Well, she knows that you are like something's fucking wrong with your brain. So I don't think she would have been like an asshole about it. Like, how dare you? I think she would have been like, like, oh shit. Cloud's starting to remember things.
So the Kate Sith, meanwhile, cannot access the records about the temple that he wants to because he needs approval from the site, I guess the local Shinra manager, Murasaki, but he's off doing an inspection of the reactor. And he's like, well, why don't you, friends...
I don't think that's exactly right. We need to access the reactor's terminal instead because it has like higher clearance. And so we need to find Murasaki, and then we learn that he's already at the reactor.
Okay. So you got to go.
Oh, wait, no. He needs to access the terminal in Shinra Manor, not at the reactor.
Right. And he can't get permission without Murasaki. And his credit card is not credit card, his card access. So
ID card.
Yeah. So he's like, so you guys got to go over to the reactor. Meanwhile, cut to smash cut. Heidegger says to Rufus that the Shinra survey team was ambushed by Wutai in Nibelheim. And they're all like, it's all going according to plan. Ha ha ha.
Nibelheim.
What? I don't understand their evil plan.
No, it's not good. It's
Their
not good or
evil
smart or
plan
makes
is
sense.
to have a war with Wutai, I guess.
They've already had a war with Wutai. I think they want an uprising from Wutai just as an excuse to do more evil stuff. They already seem to just have carte blanche to do whatever the fuck they want. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess they do fear the populace to a certain amount because they're saying that Avalanche was the one who dropped the plate and things like that.
Yeah.
So they're not just
dropping
being
plates on
outright
people
evil.
too.
So we head back. Fortunately, they rebuilt the bridge, so now the bridge is working, which is great. You have a working bridge, and you can cross the bridge, but still have to do. Some of the annoying sections around Mount Nibble are still broken, so you have to do some climbing and stuff. There's a lot of climbing. There's a lot of climbing here. Yep. It doesn't seem like a very well, like the road access to the reactors very poor.
Well, I think that there
it's
was
different
a door,
here.
but we couldn't get in there, right?
Yeah, initially in the flashback at the beginning of the game, we had to go a different route. And this time they've repaired the bridge and we're able to just cross the bridge. Right.
But then there's like these tiny little boards that go around the side of the mountain that you're supposed to follow, but those are broken. And so Yuffie has to like bring down some stuff and use her grappling hook to get up, and she's telling you about how great Wutai is and how they had to climb all around the statue of the Chow, and that was super cool, and how like amazing Wutai is, and how Cloud should go join Wutai.
Yeah, she does try to talk Cloud into joining. She tries to talk the group into it. She wants to lead them as like a merc group for Wutai, and they're all kind of like, fuck off, teenager. Which is reasonable.
Cloud gets some visions when he sees the big, gigantic materia. He starts talking as exactly the same as what Sephiroth said, and Tifa's like, let's keep going.
Yeah.
She does a lot of that in this chunker. A lot of like...
Yeah, I don't... This has the same problem, I think, as the original, which is that these people just refuse to have a simple conversation with each other.
He does a little bit. He is like, hey, why did I forget that Zack drowned? Isn't that weird? And she's like, yeah, I didn't want to freak you out by telling you about Zack, but I'm glad that you remember now.
But that's not what happened.
Well,
he has a new memory that's not a real memory also.
So it wasn't Zack that drowned?
No, because Cloud thinks Cloud thinks he's Zack. So Zack's the one that did all the shit. Cloud didn't drown either. Cloud
was the other, because there's two soldiers. It was the other soldier.
It was the other soldier.
That's why Tifa doesn't remember Cloud being there.
Yes.
Because he was there, but he wasn't Zack. He was the soldier who didn't do that.
He didn't take his helmet.
He was too embarrassed.
So you do get to the top of the reactor.
And again, he was embarrassed for stupid reasons. Because he left and he's like, I'm going to be a soldier. And then he just got like a normal job instead.
Yeah.
But he's 19. Get over yourself.
He is. So I did it. I hate to keep referencing this, but I did in my watching of this Let's Play. Cloud did in the original say that he joined Shinra when he was 16, and that was 5 years ago. So Cloud is canonically 21.
Yes, he is. I knew that.
In the original.
Yeah. So There, you get to the top of the reactor.
Oh, well, hang on. So you did, I don't know that you said this, maybe you did, but he does talk to Tifa about remembering Zack. Tifa tells him, don't talk to Aerith about it. Let me talk to Aerith about it.
Oh, yeah, because we're girls. Tee-hee.
No, because
Yeah,
like
and you
I
can't,
think that
you're not allowed to
Tifa-
have conversations with people.
My impression is that Tifa and Aerith have talked all about exactly what's going on with Cloud. So it's like they're like, wow, Cloud thinks he's Zack. He's acting real dumb. He doesn't remember anything. So let's just like kind of humor him and not bring things up. And so I think that when she went to talk to Aerith about it, she's just like, oh, so now Cloud has this new theory about what happened.
I don't know that we ever see her talk to Aerith about it.
A little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the hotel at the beginning of the game. You do get.
No, I mean at this point, once Cloud agrees not to talk to Aerith about it.
Oh, I just
I see what you're
assumed
saying.
that they do, I guess.
So
Yeah, I
there
mean,
are
you're
3
probably right.
slides. At this point in the game, if you remember back in episode 4, where Vanessa was like, no, this is where there's 3 slides. Why don't you remember the 3 slides? And Jim's like, yeah, John, what are you talking about? This is the 3 slide section. And I was like, there aren't 3 slides. It's now. I was gaslit.
it's
Pretty
now.
close.
These
Close to when
fuckers.
it happens in the game.
And their inability to play along with the goddamn podcast. I mean, can't wait until we start Fallout 3 and and Vanessa finishes
Vanilla.
the entire game in the first week.
I
That is-
actually
I
have
mean,
like,
vanilla is a good description of.
Well, no, Vanessa has 2 modes. She has Vanasti and Vanilla.
yeah. And you never know which one you're gonna get.
Vanilla.
Yeah, it's always vanilla. I have purposely not been starting Fallout 3 because I was afraid that I would play it all in a week and then forget what happens.
That'd be bad.
And you're going to have to write the notes.
I know,
Yeah.
that's why I haven't started.
So you do
if
find.
you're curious what we're talking about, we do currently have a Patreon vote going on right this minute.
It's true. And I believe have you checked in recently? I haven't looked.
Fallout 3 is currently leading with 50% of the vote.
That's a lot.
The poll does end in 7 days, so that's 7 days from Thursday. So you've got a few days left when this episode comes out. Fallout 3 in the lead with 50%. Vampire the Masquerade Redemption in second with 28%. L.A. Noire in third with 20%. And Jim's Choice, the System Shock remake, just barely surviving with 2% of the vote.
Who could have guessed that a game with a currently very popular show out would have won this vote?
I really
I
thought
know
Vampire had a
who.
shot.
Yeah, me too.
I wonder if people
And it sucks
think
because
that
I feel like I've blown my load. I really wanted to play that on the show, and like, what am I going to put it up for another vote?
Well, I think that an unofficial rule should be if something loses a vote, we can't play it that year.
That year?
Yeah, I think it's a good. I don't. That was something I was
I
mulling
don't
in my
know.
head. I like it.
Just because
I think it.
people got salty when I insisted we play Vampire the Masquerade after it lost. And that was like one person.
We're already halfway through the year, Matt. It's
He
fine.
forgave me.
I want to play Vampire the Masquerade Redemption, though.
Yuck.
I bet people
You don't
think
know
that
anything
I'm the
about
one
it.
who
You didn't know it
nominated
fucking
them.
existed
You're
until I
right.
nominated it.
I know.
What are you talking about? Everyone knows I'm a huge Vampire the Masquerade fan.
You didn't know it existed until I nominated it, even though I've told you about it multiple times in the
It's
past.
true. He has.
I'm the
All right.
world's biggest
So-
Vampire the Masquerade fan, and I challenge anyone to beat
You've
me
watched
at my
all
knowledge
episodes of
lore.
that Vampire the Masquerade TV show.
I watched
Oh,
one
man.
part of one of the episodes.
How was it?
It was not good.
Yeah, wasn't it on the CW?
No, I think it predated that.
Yeah,
I
it
think
was-
this
it was
like
The
90s.
WB.
Yeah.
It was the WB in the 90s. All right.
So when we get to the top, there's some dead Wu-Tai ninjas who do look like Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I thought that was
I
funny.
do like that in Jim's notes, he specifically wrote that we gaslighted John into believing was actually earlier in the game.
Yep.
Parentheses, sucker.
It's true.
Did you like going down the slides?
Yeah, it was fine. You know what
Nothing
I
in this
liked better?
section.
I liked rolling through the vents much better than going down the slides. I
Well,
felt
we'll
that
get
was
to
more fun. And it seems like war has started between Wutai and Shinra because some Shinra soldiers were dead, some Wutai soldiers were dead. The Wutais got shot. You head into the reactor.
Yeah, that's not shocking. It's a little weird to me that they're as technologically advanced as this world is, where there are planes and robots. Wutai thinks that they are going to start a war against Shinra with their ninja, you know?
Well, that's what Cloud is doing all the time with his Buster Sword.
Cloud's got fucking superpowers. The Wutai ninjas don't.
Maybe they do.
They've got
you don't
ninja
know.
superpowers. They got
I guess
ninja magic.
Yuffie has ninja superpowers.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a war started. You get into the reactor, and Yuffie is looking for Yuffie's looking for materia, but and Cloud like sees the Genova sign at the back and gets headaches and green static memories. Even Tifa gets some green static memories where she remembers the body of her dad, where she sees Murasaki's body. She's like,
yeah,
oh.
that really fucking confused the shit out of me. Like, I get the conceit of Cloud's green static memories, and I can certainly understand Tifa having like PTSD flashbacks. Why make them green staticky?
Yes, it should be a different color. PTSD should be like red.
Or just don't do static.
Just be like, oh, it's just a memory.
Then one of the variants that we did see through the glass last time was out of its little shell. Oh no, I guess the one last time Sephiroth killed. But anyway, there's a variant that comes out of the shell, and there is a quick boss fight here. Murasaki is super dead, killed by this monster. Tifa gets her flashback. Yuffie gets the ID card from Murasaki, and Cloud.
Yeah, no, we definitely loot this corpse, which is dark.
And Cloud wants to find survivors here, so they have a little phone call with Kate Sith, because he's like, oh, no, since Yuffie inserted the card, he suddenly had access to it.
I'm going to need you to stop saying Yuffie, because
I can't.
Yuffie is a different thing.
I have a hard
type of.
I have a hard time.
You know what it is, and I don't.
No, that's Yiffy.
Oh.
You're getting
I
that
know what
wrong.
Matt's talking about. Yeah.
He's mixing up Yiffy and Yuffie.
I don't like the word yiffy.
No yiffing for Vanessa.
Ew.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
I don't think furries really use yiff anymore. I feel like that was a 90s furry talk. I don't think that's a
I don't want to talk about
2020s.
My problem with it is that it's like cutesy.
Well,
Cutesy.
Yeah, I mean, anyway. So, everyone
I
agrees.
mean, isn't that what being a furry really is? It's not I want to fuck animals. It's that I want to fuck cartoon characters.
I want to be cutesy.
Am I wrong? I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't know.
I think that's like an anthropomorphic. Yeah, for sure. Like the fursuits are cute for the most part.
They don't look like real animals.
No.
That's for sure.
No.
Well,
In fact, let me go put mine on, and you guys can tell me how realistic it is.
There's the Japanese style, which do look like real animals, and they're more like real animals, and those ones are really expensive and weird because they're so detailed.
I have seen like bodysuit, body paint style that do look more realistic. That I do find that creepy. I don't want to sit here and be the guy that harps on furries.
Yeah.
I find that
I mean it's a
little too
harmless
close.
lifestyle.
Oh, there's the. Hold on, let me just put something in the chat.
Is it going to be a picture of a furry?
It's not.
Is it going to be this terrible picture of Puck's daughter that you posted? That's
That
one
was
of the
me.
worst things I've ever seen. Her fucking
There
thong
it is.
that
It is in.
Oh, it's Johnny.
Yeah.
I don't think it looks that much like Johnny.
I think it looks just like him.
It's me. I'm Puck. Anyway, that was the one where it looked a lot like me.
But yeah, Puck's daughter.
How did you find that? Have you been searching for it this whole time? Did
No.
you ask somebody to send it to you?
Yeah, I did ask someone to send it to me.
That looks like
Because someone
Jamie
sent me this
Lee
10 years
art.
ago and was like, it's
Maybe
you.
that's from the Hawkeye run.
I don't know. It was a long time ago. Multiple people have sent me various pictures of Puck looking like me over the years. And one of my
that's
friends mentioned
cool.
it the
That's
other
cultural appropriation, and you're canceled.
I wish I
I'm
looked like
sorry.
a Marvel character.
I mean, you kind
I
of.
mean, have you seen Agatha?
Yeah, I was just
Catherine
gonna say,
Hahn. I was going to
actually.
say, you kind of look like Catherine Hahn.
Catherine Hahn, that's what it was. I was trying to come up with her name last night.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Agatha series because I'll be in vogue again.
Can you go like, wink? You got to like throw your
She's
head back.
such a good actress.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about that show. I mean, I've been real down on Marvel, and like I still don't really trust them at this point to really like make a good show. But like, goddamn, Catherine Hahn is amazing.
On our stream last night, we did have like a half-hour talk about why why Marvel movies were such a 2010 thing and have not really survived into the 2020s. And
I don't know that that's quite what we talked about.
well, I think we did. We talked quite a bit about how it's sort of over in the pandemic.
So we go back to Kate Sith.
Yay!
And now we're controlling Kate Sith, and he's our main character. And you know
was
what?
so
I
good.
fucking loved this.
It was
Loved
amazing.
it.
Did
Yeah,
you
it's
guys
bad.
open doors as Kate Sith? Because that was my favorite. He jumps
Every
up,
time he has to-
grabs the doorknob, he hangs off it.
I like
There's-
how when he used a computer, he would jump up on top of it and like plant his feet on the
Just
keyboard,
like my
but
real
somehow
cat.
still use it.
He
My
does.
cat's behind my TV right now, and I don't trust her. You're gonna break something.
He
My
rolls
cat likes to
around
jump on
the
my
floor.
keyboard.
It's so cute.
Yes, he's got so when you let's just say it when you're controlling Kate Sith, he has like two big traversal mechanics. One is that he rolls
Like a
if you hit
critter
the run button.
from the movie Critters.
If you hit the run button instead of running, he rolls. But if you bounce off of something, he like gets stunned for a minute, and it's fucking annoying.
Also like the movie Critters.
And his other traversal mechanic is that you can hit the triangle button to call your Moogle, and then you ride around
up
on the
on
back
the
of the
D-pad.
Moogle. It's very slow, though its hopping is very cute.
I like riding. Well, and at least I had I put in a few hours of doing like the various Chadley quests as Kate Sith, so I still don't quite understand how his meters work.
What?
Doing-
Really?
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
don't
think
understand
you
his
could.
meters.
Can you leave the town as Kate Sith?
No, I mean not before.
Oh, just having him in your
Yeah,
party.
like I having as the leader of my party for a couple hours over the
Oh,
weekend.
yeah.
I was pretty good at playing as Kate Sith by this point, and I
I
got
don't, I don't know what you're talking about when you talk about meters.
because like at first he has a meter that says drop kick when you're in Moogle mode, like when you're riding the Moogle, and then it goes on to like vengeance. Not vengeance is Red 13.
No,
It's got like
vengeance is.
it's got 3 different modes, and I don't know how to build up
Yeah.
the meter to switch
Okay.
to the other ones.
You know what? I agree. I do know what you're talking about. It's the triangle button in combat for just straight physical attacks. And I also don't know. Like I was just slamming the triangle button, and when I would like stagger something, and he would go from I don't remember what it was. The first one is just like attack or like fight.
Cat
Drop
scratch
kick.
or something
And
like
then-
that.
Well,
Yeah, and then it changes to drop kick.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I was
know
having
what
fun.
the
Like
third one is.
Moogle Punch is a really you get his gold.
Moogle Knuckle.
Is it Moogle Knuckle? Okay,
It's Moogle Knuckle. Yes,
Yeah.
his punch is really good.
because you get the gold loudspeaker megaphone here, and that has a really good ability that I used a lot.
Well, so he gets one of my favorite abilities in the game, which is he gets Moogle Magic, which allows him to use an ability of
I haven't
an
got that
equipped
one yet.
Summon. So if you use Moogle Magic, and let's just say you have Kujata or Bahamut Arisen, you'll hit the button, and the summon will just drop out of the sky and do its one move. And I really fucking loved this ability, and I really wish that this was just a materia that you could put on anybody because it's fantastic, and also it does a shitload of damage if you've got Bahamut on him, where Bahamut just drops out of the sky and fucking flamethrows something. It is awesome. It's fantastic.
So we told Cloud we'll meet him at Shinra Manor. We left Red 13 outside, and so Barrett, Kate Sith, and Aerith go inside, and inside you find the elevator right away. Pretty much, you go down that, and there's the
It's the only
Hojogram.
place you can go.
Yeah.
There's nothing else here.
There's no upstairs.
And that kind of annoys me. Yeah, because there's no upstairs. Like Shinra Manor was kind of like a maze in the original, and here it's just all blocked off, and there's one direction it funnels you, and there's an elevator at the end of it. And that's
there's a Hojogram, and it's a Robo Hojo, and he tells us that he's tracking us through the manor security, and he's like, thanks for dropping in. I'll let you explore. Please leave it the way that you found it. And then by drop in, he means he opens up a trap door, and it does my favorite video game / cartoon thing of people falling like 50 feet and then just dusting themselves off.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, well, I'm magic. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
But they are in a little prison cell.
Yes, they are in a little prison cell, and with fortunately very big rollable vents. And Kate Sith says first Barrett says no way of squeezing through those bars, and Kate Sith is like, me neither. And yes, you could.
Yeah, yep,
totally.
Yeah.
we can fit you through there. You're a cat, dog. You can squeeze through anything.
Yeah, but maybe a cat robot doesn't have the sort of same squishability that a cat
That's
does.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
It did when Hojo showed up, it really, like, I had a flashback to not killing him on that beach and was really fucking annoyed about it. Why has nobody put a bullet in this dude's head yet? There's
not
no good
murderers,
reason
Matt.
for it. We are murderers.
So
we murder
there
people all the fucking time.
So there's a new mechanic here.
We're terrorists. Like legitimate
where you
terrorists.
you throw boxes to break boxes, even though Barrett's there with his gun and could easily
This
shoot
is
them.
the worst part of this chunker. Listen, first of all, the mechanic is very poorly implemented. To hit a lot of these boxes, you have to be A, in the perfect spot, and B, nail the mechanic. Where
There's
you pull
one
back
puzzle
on the
where you have
pad
to
or
drop
whatever.
a materia box into a vault, or into a not a vault, like a tank.
You have to
Yeah,
drop
like a moving platform.
Yeah,
A
I
moving
was not.
funnel.
It's
That
like
took
a
me 20 minutes or
power-
so.
Yeah, it took me a long time too. It's like a power boost box.
And when
that
I
you
found
drop
out
into a
that you had to
whatever.
do
It's
at least
fucking
3,
bullshit.
or that you had to do 3 of them, I was pretty annoyed.
I'll say this. Once I did it the first time, I was like, okay.
Yeah, same here.
got
I
it
found the
from there.
location where I could do it pretty easily, but I was like, oh,
Well, it's
come
not just the location. It's like the thing stops, so you think that's where you need to throw it.
No.
But then you realize, no, you've got to hit it before it gets to that point. And
Yeah.
this aggravated the shit out of me. It also aggravated, like, I like Kate Sith, and I think he's fun in combat, but this goes back and forth between having Barrett, Aerith, and Kate Sith, and just having Kate Sith, and he's just not a good solo character. If this was Tifa or Cloud, this would be easy, but instead it's Kate Sith who he's.
Well,
I
you
love
have to
him, he
know,
sucks.
like, there are these balance things, which were in the original game, and sometimes they'll be weak against physical attacks, sometimes they'll be weak against magic attacks, which does prep you for the boss fight, which is the exact same mechanic. Those scales.
And Kate Sith's main attack is he's like a bard. He basically shoots musical notes, and those are magic attacks. And you have to get close to do physical attacks.
Yeah,
which I
the
didn't
Moogle's
realize.
attacks
So
are
that
physical
fucked
attacks.
me up.
And he's also a powerful, especially with the gold thing equipped, a very powerful spellcaster. You do find a materia that will swap your magic attack and your physical attack, which I did use.
Did you? I didn't see the usefulness of it. I
Well,
just didn't get it.
just because that way his regular attack would do more if you're on top of the Moogle.
Here's what aggravates me about Kate Sith as in combat. I don't like that you have to summon the Moogle because it feels like a waste of an ATB bar. And I just think he should just start with the Moogle. I like that you can separate them and the Moogle is kind of an AI that'll attack on its own. And I do like that it can like die in combat and you can resummon it. But it really aggravates me.
You should
particularly
start.
here,
I think you should start with the Moogle. I think that would have helped.
Yeah. I mean, if you've got, I stuck First Strike on him, which I always stick on whoever my leader is. So I generally started with a full ATB bar, but it still aggravated me because it felt like a waste of an ATB bar.
So there's vent puzzles, and then you have to open up the switch from the blue vents to the red vents. That took me a couple of minutes. I was like, oh, I got to throw it at that.
I didn't mind this. I liked it because
Yeah,
you
it
get
was
to
fine.
roll around as
Yeah.
Kate Sith.
It's
and
a
you get to- you
Zelda-y
go to the-
dungeon.
Yeah, you go through these vents, and it's like a fun, crazy thing where he's like getting thrown through these vents. Like, I like this. I said this earlier, but I really think they rehabbed the shit out of this character. I think he's the worst character in Final Fantasy VII, and maybe one of the best characters in this game. I'll take Kate Sith over Aerith any day of the week.
He's the cutest little kitty.
He's
so cute. I
kitty.
love his Scottish accent. And here's a funny thing. Early in the game, we got a lot of shots of the girls, Tifa and Aerith, doing like hand gestures that I found really like disconcerting, where I just didn't like them. You know, like they're constantly like putting their hands up by their face and doing like,
Have you I've worked with like some Japanese and Chinese women and Korean women that kind of do that a lot, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's like a thing.
I'm not familiar with that, but regardless, but here's the thing. Kate Sith does it too, but when Kate Sith does it, I find it adorable and fucking fantastic. He's constantly like putting his fists by his eyes and like...
I like when he's trying to do that
tears.
cute, he's trying to do like the cute kitty thing with the paws
Yes.
up.
Yeah.
It is so fucking funny. See, this is why we need Jim here, because Jim fucking hates Kate Sith, so we would have a diversity of opinion
That's
that we're
why he
clearly
wouldn't
not going to
come
get here.
this week. He's like, I am not talking about that cat.
I think it's because he didn't want to listen to us talk about X-Men, which he's going to have to do anyway.
Yeah.
Because he's editing this
Well,
week.
he didn't want to listen to it
Congratulations, Jim.
twice. He would have had to have listened to it twice. That was his
He did.
issue.
He was very nice. Like, can we try to like keep this episode tight this week? And I was like, no, all X-Men talk. Speaking of Shinra Mansion, Xavier's Mansion, same thing, right?
Wow.
You know what I'm talking about?
That's a great cultural parallel that you've drawn.
Is Vincent an X-Man? I don't know. Let's find out.
We will find out. I hate
Next
his
time
dumb
on Square
collar.
Roots. Oh, wait,
His collar annoys me. I don't know why.
Who?
Vincent?
Vincent. We'll talk about it
We're
in a
not
second.
there
Is it
yet.
collar?
Yeah.
All right. Let's get there.
So at the end of this exploration, you do have to fight a solo boss. I died a lot here.
I died a lot too.
I had
Yin
to
and
figure
yang.
out what to do.
It's not yin and yang in the original. I can't remember what the name is, but it is the same concept. But you fight the boss with your full party in Cloud, but it's the same thing where it's like half fire, half ice, and you and does the same thing with physical and magic attacks where it's one or the other. But it looks like a big stupid monster in the original, and in this, I mean, it's still a stupid monster, but it doesn't look the same.
Well, this time I cast Mana Ward on myself, and that helped. And the time I won, I cast Mana Ward because those thunder, and I also equipped armor, elemental, secure against thunder. I used that on my armor, so that helped too. I just had to.
I didn't do anything special on the attempt where I finally beat this thing. I just happened to nail it. Like, I just dodged his attacks, blocked his Thundagas, and beat his ass. And it was not... It's like I said, I fought him like 3 times and died and was real frustrated. And like 2 days later, I came back and fought him and just beat the shit out of him. And I don't know what the difference was.
I don't like one thing. I
Luck.
don't like in these
Luck.
things is that they'll have a cutscene mid combat, and if you are about to do a limit break or a super powerful thing, and that cutscene happens, it's as if it never happened, and that's really frustrating. So
Yeah, absolutely.
after that boss fight, you then get the elevator up with Baron Aerith. And then there's this box moment where it's like first before this elevator moves, you're going to look at these boxes and you better break 10 of them. I did not. I broke 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
can't
also
remember how
fucked
many
this
I
up.
got.
It
I think
didn't.
2.
It didn't do anything. Like, there was no negative.
Nope. You didn't have to do it over. It's just like,
It was
well,
just
you
a
didn't
chance to have some fun.
It was bad.
I mean, I didn't find this mechanic fun. So
Yeah, it just controls really badly, and you have a guy with a gun next to you.
they want you to use the touchpad, which
No.
I did try and
Yes.
did not find
was
it any
it was
better.
uncontrollable with the touchpad. That was awful. It's
And
not
as
a
John
Wii.
said, there is a man with a gun for an arm standing next to you. I just, ugh.
So you then Hojo comes back on, and this time it's not an AI, it's definitely the real Hojo, and he's like, I've hidden the code somewhere in the room, bet you can't find it. And it was just like behind some
It was behind some
trolleys.
boxes.
Yeah.
So you get out of that room, and then he's like, oh, I forgot there's another specimen in here. I guess you'll have to fight it. And this is like a super tentacly specimen. I had a hard time targeting his weak points, which was really annoying. I feel like, was this, or is that,
I
that,
don't remember this.
maybe that was Vincent. This is the one with the tentacles that you have to target, and I don't know. It was fine. It was easy.
Forgotten specimen. Yeah, I don't really remember it.
So then you take the elevator back up, and Cloud is there. Everyone's there. And you start exploring this facility. And then you notice, hey, there's a weird... why is there a coffin? What's it? Face? Total? Faggy? Vanessa.
I can't believe you said that on the show, Johnny.
John's allowed to say that. He's reclaiming that word. There is a stuffed peacock right here next to me. That's her favorite toy that she's ignoring. She found a dust bunny and has been fighting it for the last 10 minutes.
Aw.
And eating it. And now she's just made of dust. Oh, it's yogurt time.
So this man in a coffin is Vincent, and he's like, oh, I'm security. And Kate's just like, well, I've got a pass, here's my ID. And he's like, but you're not this guy. But
no, he's like, he plays it so cool where he's like, oh yeah, cool, go ahead. And you go in and use the machine. He lets you use the terminal.
Mm-hmm. But then you go into the other, well, first I went into the library, there was nothing there. But then I went into I followed that tube into the tube room, and there are these three things, one with some S hair, one with some S tissue, and one with some, I forgot what, S blood, I think is the last one. And this...
What?
The little tanks that Cloud finds, and he gets a little headache looking at them. And Tifa's like, we should probably get out of here. And right then, Vincent's like, I never said you could go into this room. And he's got a gun pointed at the cat. He's going to shoot the cat robot.
I had forgotten that Vincent the vampire monster, I had forgotten that his weapon is just a gun. Like, what a fucking boring choice.
That's why his game is a shooting game.
He's definitely a vampire, right? Like, he says he's
That's
not.
a great question.
He sleeps in a coffin.
He sleeps in a coffin. He looks like your classic vampire. He has like a cravat suit on. Mm-hmm. He has long hair. He has red glowing eyes.
He looks nothing like your classic vampire. He looks like
has
an
a mullet.
boy.
Dracula.
He has a mullet. Does Dracula have a mullet?
Of course.
We definitely see him in the sun later. Like, he definitely is just hanging out in the sunlight.
Maybe he's just a goth.
Yeah, I think he's just
he
goth.
is just a goth.
He emo.
Just sleeps in a coffin for, like, the vibes, which is really fucking stupid.
Mm-hmm. But the stupidity was in the original game, so it's fine. Mm-hmm. So you do have to fight him because he's like, I like that they did this sort of old-timey 30s movie thing of when he starts transforming into the monster, you see the shadow of him transforming into a monster. That was great.
He does turn into the Gallant Beast, which is like a big bat monster. So again, another reason why you would think he's a vampire. But if you remember, which I don't know that we'll ever, I don't know if if he'll join the actual party in this game. Mm-hmm. But if you remember in the original, his second, I think, Limit Break, he turned into a Frankenstein. Mm-hmm. So he's not just a bat monster.
He also turns into a Jason. How are they gonna fit that in?
He's the whole Universal Classic Monsters franchise.
Jason.
Yeah. Vampire Frankenstein Jason.
Yeah.
The classic Universal monsters.
I think he does have a mummy form too, right?
I don't remember. We only get 3 limit breaks in this game, and again, I don't know if he actually joins your party. I know he hangs around. He's yet to join my party. I don't think he's going to. I think it's going to be like Red at the end of Remake.
Well,
where
Sid
he's
hasn't
around.
joined either so far. So, I don't know.
I don't think either of them are going to join. I think this is what we get, and next game we'll get Sid and Vincent in the party.
So this was,
If the
I
next
did
game
have to
happens,
do this.
Am I right, guys? Because this thing's bombed. Because it's woke.
After this Vincent fight, you do have to fight the Gallant Beast. And I did have like a limit break going when it went to the cutscene, and so my limit break didn't do anything. I was very annoyed.
That sucks.
But the second
sucks.
time, I really destroyed him, so it was fine. But that
I didn't
first
have a
time,
problem with this fight,
yeah.
Because Cloud is here now, and listen, Cloud's kind of the most boring character to play as. I mean, other than Barrett, who is a fucking snooze, and Aerith, who is ugh. But
I would
Cloud-
use Radiant Ward because not only does it make her invincible when she's using magic, it also buffs up her normal attack.
I have legitimately not really used, and I have not mastered any of her weapon abilities because I don't use her at all.
Yeah,
I don't care.
didn't till like near the end of the game either.
Mm-hmm.
I've got
In fact, I had a similar problem this week with Kate Sith that I had last week with Red 13, where the game made me play as them, and I was like, well, I've not mastered any of your abilities, so I guess I'll run through all of your weapons as I go through this area where I control you.
Yeah,
And
Moogle Bomb is the most useless one, but all those, the rest of his
that
are
thing
fine.
sucks.
If you have the gold one on one of the weapon abilities you can get is increasing your luck by a gajillion %. So I did that, and then the fortune teller attack is crazy powerful because it's based on your luck stat. So pro tip for defeating bosses, the Moogle Knuckle and the Fortune Teller are the way to go. I don't understand how the dice one works. Do you, Vanessa?
I think there's like 6 different outcomes that you can get if you use the dice attack, and it's random.
Mm-hmm. So, after defeating him, you are like, Soldier's like, hey, we're not Soldier. Cloud is like, hey, we're gonna kill Sephiroth. He asked why we were here in the first place, and I said to find Sephiroth, because I was like, that's probably I feel like that was the right thing to do in the original game too, was to tell him that.
Yeah, I didn't want to lie to him, so I told him the truth. We're after Sephiroth.
He's like, and you're like, you should come join us. You're powerful. We're powerful. Let's go kill Sephiroth. It seems like you got a thing against him too, because he's like, because when you're talking about Sephiroth, he's like, oh, another thing for me to atone for. I'm so dark and sad. I wish it wasn't I wish I lived in the 17th century, that I wouldn't have to wash my dad's car. So then you head off, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm done this chunker, finally. And Jim's like, oh, have you done the last boss fight? And I'm like, what? And right then, the last boss fight happens, because you step outside, there's a bunch of black-robed people. You get next to them, and then suddenly Roche drops out of the sky in his motorcycle, and he's super-duper powered.
Yeah, he got his upgrade last time, so he can finally top Cloud.
Mm-hmm.
But, is that what happens, Johnny?
No, he doesn't top that twink.
No.
Because I know how to parry. And I have the improved parry ability. And that's how you defeat Roche, is you gotta either dodge his unblockable attacks or parry his other ones. And that makes him pressured. And then you can wail on him with whatever abilities you want. Usually I use Focus Thrust or Braver. It seems like he really likes it when Cloud focus thrusts on him. He likes it. I just want the twink to focus thrust on me. But unfortunately, when you do defeat him, he is mumbling on the ground. And at first, before you defeat him, Cloud's like, hey, let's stop here. Are you all right? And he's like, no, don't take pity on me.
Well, you didn't say, and I do think it's important to note that you do have to solo fight him. Cloud looks at the rest of the group and is like, I got this. And that almost made me more sad. He takes this guy so unseriously that he's like, nah, I got this myself. No
I thought it was
problem.
because of their special relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I imagine that's what Roche thinks while he jerks himself off to sleep at night.
You want to solo me. He didn't want anyone else to have a piece of me.
But as soon as you defeat him, he's like on the ground. He's like, ugh. And then suddenly he gets surrounded by the other black robe people. And then,
Yeah.
with a little puff of magic, suddenly a robe appears on him. A robe. What? What?
I mean, to be fair, he dies, is what happened. He dies. And once he dies,
he doesn't die. He just succumbs to his what?
He dies.
What?
don't believe
Once he
That's
dies, it's like a
true.
zombie. Like
He
once he dies,
succumbed
he
to his
comes
Mako
back from the
degradation.
dead. Yeah, well, once he dies, he comes back from the dead as a zombie, as a black robe.
No, he did
didn't
not die.
die.
Listeners, he
fucking
didn't die.
dies.
Yeah.
You watch the light go out of
Listeners.
his eyes.
Respond to us on squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Did Roche die? Who is correct? Is it Vanessa and Johnny, or is it Matt? Let us know. I will go with whatever ruling you all agree on.
I don't like the way you phrased that. You made it into a popularity contest.
No. How is that a...
Maybe you'll win the popularity contest.
A 2 versus 1 popularity contest.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's not.
That's not true, but I don't think believing that Roche died or not has anything to do with liking me and Vanessa. It should
That's got
be.
nothing to do with the way that you phrased it, where you
What?
were like, listeners, who do you think is cooler, me and
That's
Vanessa
not
or
what I
Matt?"
said. I said who is
Matt.
correct? Who is
Yeah,
correct?
but listeners, who do you think is cooler, me and Johnny or Matt? Write in.
I always come correct. And amber is the color of my energy. And
That's
that's how you
true.
know I'm the coolest guy on the podcast.
You do like to come original.
I like to come.
Original.
My lady.
I like to come.
The last thing that Roche says to you as he's
And
turned
that's
into
what's going
a...
to make me really popular.
He is a black-robed person, but now he has blonde hair sticking out of his robe.
He does. It's sad. It's sad.
And he does, the last thing he tells Cloud is degradation is inevitable. And Cloud's like, oh, what about me? And Tifa's like, yeah, I think you're okay, though, because you're not a soldier. Shh.
Yeah. See, they all know exactly what's going on with Cloud. Like, there's no question.
They don't, though. But they
They
don't.
know he's not a soldier.
They do. That is wildly debatable. I mean,
I think,
I think they
know.
I think they know.
but is this the same Cloud?
What? What?
Is this Cloud? Is this Cloud?
Is who Cloud?
Is this Cloud Strife the boy that Tifa grew up with?
Yeah, he just got tested. So he does have some of
I
the
don't know that
Genova
that's accurate.
cells squished into him. So he might suffer degradation. He does get a lot of brain fuzzies, and he does get Sephiroth
He has
telling him...
all the powers of a soldier.
Yeah, and
Why-
he does get
why-
Sephiroth telling him to bring him the black materia all the time.
He is clearly suffering from degradation.
Mm-hmm.
There is more going on here than you two are copping to.
All right, cut to suddenly we're back in Midgar. It is not a Zack attack shack.
That's not true.
how
We're
could
back
it
in
not be?
Nibelheim.
No, cut to Midgar.
Oh,
And
you're right. I'm sorry.
The TV goes in and basically an Al Qaeda broadcast. Like it's got that weird snaky logo on the side. It looks like an Al Qaeda broadcast.
A man wearing a robe.
Yeah, it was a very weird choice here.
It's terrible.
But I mean, it reminded me a lot of in Star Wars Rogue One, where like the attacks on the stormtroopers were filmed like they were footage from the Iraq War, which was an interesting choice back when Rogue One came out. And this is also
The best Star Wars movie? The greatest Star Wars
I
movie?
didn't like that one. I'll have to watch it again. Maybe
Yeah,
I'll
well,
like it
you're wrong.
better.
I'd like to watch it
God damn,
again
that
too
movie's
because I
good.
really liked Andor and I didn't like Rogue One that much. So
It
maybe
hurts. The movie has flaws, particularly CGI young Leia and CGI Tarkin. Like that's
Yeah.
hard. That's bad.
That might
That's
be like
bad.
the taste that was left in my mouth.
Yeah,
and I
that was a-
like, no, thank you.
Yeah, I'll give it another shot. I should watch it. I should finish watching Andor. I only watched the first episode.
Oh man, listen, Johnny. I think we've talked about this before, but I'll say it again. I did not like the first. Andor is, what is it, 9 episodes, Vanessa? 12
Yeah,
episodes?
something like that.
And it
So
works
much.
in 3 episode arcs.
Okay.
like little episode trilogies. And the first one I didn't like because they released all the first 3 at once, and I didn't really like it and was not sure about the show. But I kept watching, and everything after that was the best Star Wars content I've ever fucking experienced. It's amazing. But that first trilogy of episodes is it's not great.
I might
You
try
might be
getting
able to get
intoxicated
away with
and watching it, maybe.
You might try just jumping ahead
That's
to
what I was
episode
going to
4,
say.
honestly.
Yeah. Just jump in at 4 and see how you feel. And if you like it, then the earlier ones are probably going to be more bearable.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll do that.
Yeah, that's like how I hate to bring the man up, but that's like how I couldn't watch the first season of Seinfeld, but after I had watched all the rest of Seinfeld many times, I went back and watched the first season of Seinfeld and was like, oh, it was pretty okay. All
Yeah,
right, it's fine.
there's some good episodes in the first season.
Jerry has a point.
I like
you know what?
Seinfeld,
I felt the
even if
same
I think
way-
disagree with him.
He sucks. That
yeah.
listen, it's a 25-year-old show. You don't have to fucking agree with his current politics to enjoy the show he made a million years ago. But also, you know what's similar to that? It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is a show that I love, and I know you guys don't watch. But the first season of that show is very similar. It's rough. It's not great. The second season is where it gets really good. I couldn't watch the first season, but after I'd watched the second season's on a few times, I went back and watched the first season and was like, oh, all right. Like I can see the bones here. It's actually pretty good.
So I saw a friend of mine posting about how, well, not really a friend, an online acquaintance of mine posting about playing Braid and how he's really, for the first time, and how he's really enjoying it. And then, so I did post, and I feel like I shouldn't have posted this. And then it went viral on Blue Sky, which was kind of annoying because I'm sure the guy that I was talking about has probably seen my post by now, where I said, should I tell a friend about how much the guy who makes Braid sucks, and how he said how women can't program because they don't, the menstrual blood is, biologically.
Hey, can I answer your question?
Yeah.
No. If
Yeah,
they
I
don't
didn't.
know that. And they're already playing it and they've paid for it. Just let them enjoy
Yeah,
it.
so I
And then
didn't.
But
I did vague
once they've
post
gone
about it.
through that, once they've gone through that game and like enjoyed it and had their feelings about it, then you can come in behind them and be like, by the way, you made a mistake.
Oh, that guy sucks so hard. And yeah, it went Blue Sky viral, so it had like 50 retweets or reposts. But there's not.
I want to go Maven viral.
Oh, is that the new one you're on? The one without any likes and thumbs ups and things? Maybe I'll try that. But I don't know. I feel like maybe posting all my thoughts on the internet's just not. Maybe we shouldn't. You ever
I stopped doing it a long time ago,
Yeah.
Johnny. I don't do it. I mean, I say that, but I also co-host a podcast where I just like live stream my
Right.
thoughts to the internet.
But
But it's not the same.
yeah, and people have to really be into our crap to make it all the way to where we start ranting about things most of the
I
time.
did. There was a Reddit post recently, and I don't know, one of the gaming subreddits that was like, I really want to follow like a gaming podcast. I love podcasts. I love games. But can somebody recommend, like, what's your favorite gaming podcast where they don't talk about their boring fucking lives for an hour before the show starts? And I was like, oh no. We're not going to appear in this thread, and we did not.
No, we do talk about our boring fucking lives.
I love it.
Going to see 20-year-old bands. Or 20. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Listen, if I was the sole editor of this podcast, we would not have a level up segment. But
Wow.
Vanessa and Johnny love it. I've said it for years. I don't think it's needed or necessary, but Johnny and Vanessa love it, so
We
I'm
I do
fine
enjoy
with
it. I do enjoy
I'm
it.
fine with it. It is what it is. That's the show.
All right. So we should release a compact version that's just the quest log, and it'll be like 45 minutes long.
Oh, yeah. Scoots Mini, released on the Wednesday.
Yeah.
I don't want to do minis.
So Glenn Rothrock has an Al Qaeda
Oh my
speech
god.
and says Shinra's inciting war because they shot their cannon. They've been making monsters with their Mako generators. Mako?
All true.
Mako?
Mako.
No, Mako's the shark. Oh, no, Mako's the shark, right?
No, it's Mako.
I don't
It's
remember.
Mako.
It's one of the two.
I don't. You're killing me.
Okay, and then
Yuffie, Mako. Like, you're playing the game. They're using the words.
I'm bad at remembering things. My brain is faulty. So the weirdest thing happens, though. He's like, so join us, rise up against Shinra. And now to conclude this speech is my friend Saruf. And then no one sits down, and cut to Heidegger and Rufus watching. And they're like, is Saruf invisible? Is that his imaginary friend?
He doesn't show up. Why doesn't he show up? It's so fucking stupid.
Who's Saruf?
It's so fucking stupid.
Wait, Saruf is an anagram for Rufus, though.
Can we talk about how this is? Can we talk about how this is the worst Al Qaeda video ever? Like, they really biffed it. They biffed it.
He's a bad Al Qaeda.
Can you imagine if there was an Al Qaeda video where they were like, and now our leader, who's also going to chop all the heads off the
tripped on his microphone? Oh no!
If the man didn't show up in the video, you would be like, wow, these people are incompetent and not a threat.
So Sang tells Rufus that Glenn is a former soldier. I assume Rufus knows this because he did have like a weird Sephiroth-like conversation with Glenn when no one else was around, and Glenn appeared out of a puff of smoke. So I don't understand. I don't understand.
It doesn't make sense. Why is he in the black robe? Are there two Glenn Rothrocks? Is there a Glenn Rothrock that works for Wutai and a Sephiroth Genova clone Glenn Rothrock? I don't understand what's happening.
But Rufus is like, you know what? Just focus on finding Aerith. And then they like show some footage of Aerith and
It's weird because they clearly know where Aerith is at all fucking times. Yeah. They've seen her a billion times.
Oh, what did you think?
She's in a town right now that is controlled by Shinra. So how do they not know where the fuck she is?
Speaking of adorable animation moments, Yuffie shadow boxing Barrett was so cute.
That's cute.
It was such good animation on both of them.
I have never been a big fan of Yuffie, and this game has rehabilitated her character in a lot of ways by making her Barrett actually pretty adorable. Yes, and Barrett. I don't know why you had to say that while I was talking about Yuffie.
Barrett.
He's always talking about Barrett.
Jesus Christ.
Barrett's
they
nuts
have made her
in this one.
Very, very fucking cute and funny. And like the songs that she sings and the shadow boxing Barrett and the graffiti she left. Remember when we were climbing Mount Coral and she was leaving goofy graffiti behind? Like, God, she is really entertaining. And they've really nailed it.
Vanessa, did you notice
it's funny
when Rufus was on his back after he fell down the pit and he was standing up? His model was sort of glitchy and it made it look like he had gigantic nuts.
I didn't notice that, no, but I guess I'll have to go back and replay that.
You should watch it. His nuts were gigantic.
There's nothing a woman wants more in a man than just really giant nuts.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of the things guys like in other guys, but it's not really a thing ladies like in other guys.
Gay guys? Do you mean gay guys like in other guys?
Yeah, well, anyone who likes
big nuts?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm never going to be a hit with the gay man.
Aww. Little grape nuts.
I didn't say I have little grape nuts.
Little grape nuts, Van Zandt.
I'll own it. That's me. Little grape nuts, Van Zandt.
Listeners, to show your support of Matthew Van Zandt, do send him some boxes of grape nuts. He loves them.
LGN.
Anyway.
All right. Well, now I have humiliated myself on this show again.
And we were.
The man has little grape nuts and he loves to sleep on hot dogs. I don't know why I did this. Why am I here?
So then we're like, oh, how could we possibly? The cat's like, we need to get inside. We now know where the temple is. And to get inside the temple, we do need a keystone. So we'll have to go back to the golden saucer. And everyone's like, how will we get all the way back to the golden saucer?
This aggravated the shit out of me. So just before we went to Nibelheim, we established that we now have a way to contact a pilot that will fly us wherever the fuck we want. And in fact, at any point in the game, you can go contact this pilot and he will come pick you up and fly you to wherever you want. And then we hit this point in the game, they're like, what are we going to do?
How could we get there?
It's crazy, and I shouldn't be shocked.
Never be able to find our way back there.
I shouldn't be shocked because it's a remake, but and honestly, like we've seen this in movies and other remakes of games. Like they improve on this game in so many ways, and then they also just like shit the bed in so many ways where you just can't understand like what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're wanting to have the player have a moment where they feel smarter than the character, you know?
Yeah,
But
it's
you
like a kid show.
Yeah.
Or
Can
a CBC
anyone think of
procedural,
Little
or
Bronco,
CBS
Little
procedural,
Little Bronco, Little
procedural drama.
Bronco.
I'll get that out.
Does
Let me,
anyone
Jim. Here's my
know
take two
how
on
we
it.
can go?
It's like a CBS procedural drama. There, I said it
Jim,
perfectly.
leave all that in. It always sounds like
Jim.
he's malfunctioning.
Cut all of that out and then put this in. It's like a CBS procedural drama.
Oh, fuck! Good one, Vanessa.
I'm sorry, Jim. I love you.
So suddenly there is smoke, and Aaron's like, "Oh, right, we know a guy with a plane, and it looks like someone else is hiring him, so we better get back there." And we go back to the airfield, and he's there, and he's like, "Oh, it's actually me, Sid. I'm the one that put up the smoke because I wanted to tell you about how I knew your mom. Her name's
Oh my
Afalna,
God.
and we were best friends. Did you know that? You were knee-high to a tonberry at the time. I was knee-high to a smoker. Smogger. The robots from the from remake.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
I'm just
was
It's
dumb,
like
though.
a
This was
CBS
real
procedural
dumb.
drama.
Listen, is the main part of the chunker over yet? Because I just want to talk about Moogles.
Yes.
I've waited
Yeah,
2
well,
hours.
yeah, okay, hold on. So we get on the plane breaks because there's too many people. Because Vincent Valentine shows
Oh
up.
my God. This whole.
He's like, I'm going to join you because I hate Sephiroth. I have unfinished
The
business with
plane
him.
breaks because there's one too many 100-pound twinks on it, I guess. And by the plane breaks, I mean the engines blow out.
Yeah.
Because there's
And
an
the wings
extra
fall off.
100 pounds.
Yeah.
Also, he happens to have enough seats for all of us. And let's be real, some of us weigh, let's say, 10 pounds.
Like a cat?
Like the tiny cat.
And,
But
you
the plane
you do
just
have
fucking
300-pound Barrett as well.
Bear does not weigh 300
Yeah, he does.
Is that
pounds,
Gunarm
sir.
on? He sure
The
does.
fuck
That is
he
a
does.
300-pound dude.
All right, Vanessa, I will give you that. That actually...
He's a big
That-
boy. He's
that
big, and anyone
lends
with
some
that build
credence.
at that height is going to be 300 plus for sure.
Okay, that's cool. We have the 10-pound cat, the 35-pound dog, and a bunch of twinks and girls with 0% fucking
Do have
BMI.
itty bitty waists.
Okay? Aerith and Tifa together weigh as much as my left grape nut.
Which is very small. All right, listeners. So
X-Men.
our boat's broken, but that's the end of the chapter. So we'll have to find out,
Is Sephiroth a Magneto?
is Sephiroth a Magneto?
John, did you mention that Vincent joins us for this plane ride?
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
now part of the group.
Yay!
Part of the party.
Is he? He's
But
not.
he's
He's
coming.
not in the party.
Not only is he not in the party, John, I don't think he's going to join the party in this playthrough.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well that's fine. But let's talk about
Vanessa knows, but she won't tell us.
Let's talk about a
right.
side quest, and the side quest we're
Keep
going to
your
talk about
secrets.
is Moogles. Now, I haven't done this
Moogles.
Moogle quest, but I don't mind if you tell me about it, because you made me do the Proto-Relic quest because you told me about it, and it sounds so good, and it was good. Although I was not expecting the splat when Wedge hit the ground. That was a very final
That was
splat.
last week's Proto Relic quest.
Yeah.
What was the Proto Relic quest this time?
I don't know. I
There
didn't do it.
wasn't one, I don't think.
Yeah, there is.
Yes, there was.
Yeah,
Is there?
Chadley told me about it when I was about to go to the airfield. He's like, Cloud! There's a Proto Relic!
Oh, I remember what it is. Oh,
It was
it's
about
terrible.
black robe guys.
Yes, there's like black
Oh,
robe
yeah.
people, and you have to
You
like
have to
follow them while they shuffle along for 5 minutes. It's so
Oh,
irritating.
boy.
But
It's bad. It's legit bad.
yeah, but not irritating is this is our last Moogle mushroom that we can visit. Throughout this game, we've been playing Moogle Roundup at each mushroom, where we have to gather up stray Moogles. And if you do this one,
It's
and
delightful. It's fun
complete it.
every time.
I was going to say, as Matt would say, it's delightful. But Matt, he cut me off and told you.
Yeah, he
It
told
is
me himself.
delightful.
So if you do this one, you've gathered up all the Moogles everywhere. They're very excited. All the shops are open, and they decide to give Cloud a very special reward. And their reward, Johnny, is... Do you want to have one guess?
Little wings?
Yes, you guessed it. They turn him into a Moogle.
What?
They turn Cloud,
Yes, Cloud
into a Moogle.
gets turned into a fucking Moogle. When he completes the final Moogle quest, they turn him into a Moogle. And
Yeah.
on top of that, he seems to be like horny for it. Like he is
He
real
loves
into it.
He does
I took so many
have-
fucking
Me
screenshots
too.
of this.
He does have a little Buster Sword.
Oh, he has a tiny
He has
Buster
a tiny
Sword!
Buster Sword. And they say that they're going to teach him how to fly with his little Moogle wings. So they hike him up a tree. They push him out to the very end of the branch and basically yeet him out of the tree. He's plummeting towards the earth. And then we cut to, is he? He's fluttering in the air. And he flies around in V formation like a Canadian goose, or as you would call it, a goose, with all of his Moogle friends. And he shouts, Kapopo, Kapopo, and he has the greatest day of his life.
Huh.
He's so fucking pleased by being turned into a Moogle that, like, it actually kind of made me like Cloud. And I don't like Cloud, but it actually kind of made me like Cloud.
This is what he's wanted this whole time. Like, all of his struggles and strife and internal conflict just melt away, and he lives a Moogle life, and he's so happy.
It's what we all want, Vanessa.
Absolutely.
Yeah. To be turned into a fluffy, wuffy Moogle is, I think, in the top 10 bucket list things for Vanessa.
Yeah, and then I can finally
And
yiff.
Matt.
And Matt.
Oh, no. It's fucking adorable, and it's hilarious. And, like, Cloud's delight at being turned into a Moogle is, like, it's catching. Like, I fucking loved this. I'm not joking. This was the best part of this game.
It is. It's like, it felt, you know what it felt like? It felt like Final Fantasy IX for a moment there.
Mm-hmm.
There is, all right, so moving on, there is one actually kind of big side quest in this area that we didn't talk about, and that is the Chocobo Sage. And I'm going to go ahead and delete this My White-Haired Angel because that is from next week. That does not happen in this chunker. There is the Chocobo Sage, and the reason it's such a big deal is because Chocobo Billy is here in Nibelheim working for the Chocobo Sage, and that is going to play a big part in next week's episode. Vanessa, what happens in this side quest?
The Chocobo Sage is here. He sucks. He's like a cranky old
He is
pothead.
wearing a great Chocobo hoodie that I wish I owned.
Yeah. He's this cantankerous old, like, pothead guy. He really wants you to bring him some chocobo grass, I think he keeps calling it. Something like
He's
that.
a classic Miyagi type mentor where, like, he teaches you by making you clean his pool and sweep up chocobo turds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he...
I really liked... Jim and I had the same experience here where I had done so much other stuff beforehand that when I got here, he was like, go find Celine, my favorite chocobo. She ran away. And I was like, okay, well, guess who's right here? And then he's like, okay, but I need like 30 chocobo grass. And I was like, okay, well, guess what I've got? 30 million chocobo grass. And then the final part of that mini game, quest, is that he makes you race him, and I beat his ass. Chocobo racing is easy.
It's like a Mario Kart.
Yep.
Yeah.
But Chocobo Billy's whole motivation for working for this guy is to, at first he wants to be like a good chocobo breeder, but then he finds out that this guy knows his deceased father and also Chocobo Charlie or whoever
Sam.
it is.
Chocobo Sam.
Billy's always going to that.
Sam Elliott, Chocobo Sam from the last game. I guess that Chocobo Sam and Billy's father Bill both trained under the Chocobo Sage. And Billy believes that Chocobo Sam murdered his father, is how he phrases it here. Though when he finally confronts Chocobo Sam, it's a much different story, which kind of aggravated me, actually. Like, wow, way to change it up when the cards are on the fucking table.
Well, if you talk to Billy's sister before, like, any of this happens, like in the first section, she's like, yeah, that guy didn't kill our parents. Like, my brother just has issues.
Yeah, Billy seems to think that Sam is responsible for his parents' death because he got them addicted to gambling or something. And that, obviously, we'll learn next week about the truth of that. But it is a huge part of next week's episode that the Billy wants to defeat Sam in the Chocobo Gold Cup with one of his own Chocobos because he thinks that Sam is responsible for his parents' death. And the Chocobo Sage really does not do a lot to dissuade him of this opinion. Like, he is just kind of like, yeah, they didn't like each other. They sucked. They had different opinions on Chocobo rearing. Which is weird, because when we meet Chocobo Sam in Final Fantasy Remake, the first game, he doesn't seem to have a lot to do with rearing chocobos so much as just like running them as taxis for whorehouses or something.
Yeah. Well, he's sort of fallen from his young idealistic self, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Well, we're going to learn more about that next week. Johnny, were there any other quests you wanted to talk about?
No.
Are you going to go back and do the Moogle quest now?
I sure am. I've done all the other ones. I like doing. That's a good minigame for a bullshit minigame.
I like the
rounding up.
I like
the chocobos is pretty fun.
The Mogs. I like doing that too.
Mogs, sorry.
It aggravates me. It makes me so mad when. All right, listeners, if for some reason you're not playing along, you don't know what we're talking about. When you do this round up the Mogs thing, it's a bunch of baby Mogs, and you have to go like push them towards a pen, and they're all attacking you. Each one has different magic powers. Exactly. Thank you so much. And if you get hit with one of their magic powers, then you'll get a pom-pom on your head, and if you get 3 pom-poms, you lose and have to restart. But nothing makes me laugh harder than fucking Cloud with 3 pom-poms on his head. I don't know what to say. It's fucking hilarious, and I love it.
It's also very, very easy, which I like. It is not.
All right. Well, Jim did not fill in the next time on in this in these notes he wrote for us. That's this chapter.
No, this is 11.
So Vanessa,
we just finished chapter. Yep, we just finished chapter 11.
I don't think so. Yep. Vanessa?
We just finished. I have not done chapter 12
I'm looking for Vanessa.
Hi, I'm here.
Chapter 11 was The Long Shadow of Shinra, and we just finished it.
All right. So next week we're finishing chapter 12. Is that what you're saying?
Speeding towards the end.
Well, Jim... All right. Johnny!
Mm-hmm?
I'd like to know what Vanessa is squarely against.
Okay.
Are you going to tell him?
Yeah, Vanessa is roundly for the Moogle minigame at the end of here, where you get turned into a Moogle. She loved it. It made her explode like the chicken lady.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's when she's erotically charged.
Yeah. I love
that's when she's watching Taskmaster. Gotcha.
Roundly 4 rolling around as
Yeah.
Kate Sith, and especially his animation of opening doors. It was so cute. I love him. I don't want to play as Clud ever again. I only want to play as Kate Sith. Johnny, what are you squarely against?
I am squarely against how difficult that one boss was until I figured out how to do it when you're only playing as Kate Sith. Like, you fight 4 bosses in a row, and the hardest one is the first one for some reason. But I like this chunker. What about you, Matt?
I guess I am squarely against. I mean, I disagree with both of you. Vanessa, 100% agree. John, 100% agree. Like, that was really frustrating. That whole chunker as Kate Sith, which had moments of greatness, but also had moments of pure garbage. But I guess I'll go a little wider here and say that I'm squarely against how this game kind of fails its own narrative. Like, it does such a great job improving on some aspects of it, and then it does such a fucking piss poor job handling those same aspects, like this stuff with Cloud and what's going on, and it's less it is less unintelligible than Final Fantasy VII was, but it also is like more frustrating because they still just refuse to just like pace this fucking plot, and they just want to wait until the last minute is what it seems to me right now to just dump as much garbage on you as possible. And I just don't know why. Like, the bones of a really great story are here, and I think that's why Final Fantasy VII is such a classic, but like, it doesn't do it justice. It just changes it, and not, I think the changes are positive, but also like net negative. It's a real problem, to be honest with you. And we're approaching the end of this game. And of course, it's a part 2 of 3, and we'll see what happens in part 3. But I'm enjoying this game. I'm playing it. I'm 90 fucking hours into it, but I'm also pretty disappointed in it. Like, it kind of sucks. And that's what I'm squarely against. So, Vanessa.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us about the Patreon?
Okay. The Patreon is how we keep the lights on in our podcast studio. It lets us host the podcast on various platforms. It lets us pick up games and equipment that we need in order to do the show. And it lets us allow you to show your appreciation for us. And isn't that the best gift of all, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
We really appreciate everyone's support who is able to support us, and we do offer rewards and prizes.
Prizes.
At the $5 a month tier, you get access to all our bonus content. There's a whole bunch. We've done one a month for like a few years now. That's, I don't know, 48 total? I can't
I
do
think
math.
we must be approaching 100 bonus episodes at least.
Yeah. And there's, we talk about games that don't quite fit into the main part of the show. We talk about movies, talk about TV shows. Sometimes we play little games with each other, like word games and things. Get your mind out of the gutter.
Oh,
And
I wasn't thinking about that at all.
Now you are.
You get all that content, plus the ability to vote on which upcoming game you would like to hear talked about on the show. As Matt mentioned earlier, you have a few days left to vote for our next game. Fallout 3 has a comfortable lead at the moment. I get in trouble if I tend to hype the game that I want to win, so let's just say if you haven't voted yet, there's no need to. At the $3...
Vote for Vampire. Vote for LA Noire. I'm going to play System Shock regardless. Don't bother.
At the $3 a month tier, you get all the bonus content, but no voting privileges. That's right, it's a poll tax, and we make no apologies for it. And at any amount a month, we read your name at the end of the show. Not at the end of every show, because we're too fortunate. We have too many supporters that we're to be able to read them all. But we'll read it, at the end of some shows. And That's going to sound a little bit like this. I would like to thank Rubber Bear, friend of DeSoto Aaron O'Toole, Jess Ray, Omaha Zookeeper, Gage La Charité, Mike. Did Sephiroth do this? Sol Wagner, Daniel Wood, Jabone, Butts on Parade, Tyler, and Johnny 5 Alive.
I'd like to thank Anthony Cruz, Zachary, Bullet Ant Harbison, David Green, Justin Rash, Samu Mitchell, Ryan Schmidt, Ryan, that's unfortunate, Angel, Joshua W. Broxson, Ian Frederick, Mike Marno, Stephen Paget, and Robert T.
I'd like to thank Ryan Schmidt, Ryan Gonzalez, Ryan Stardrifter, Ryan Hexagon, Ryan Jason Timms, Ryan Isaac Wright, Ryan David Shook, Ryan Doomtrain, Ryan Anthony Lerma, Ryan Oman Ran, Ryan Justin Ham, Dr. Ryan, say everyone's name, Wishbone is Ryan, Explosive Ryan, and Magpie Ryan.
Send us an email. You know our email address. It's ryan@ryan.com.
No, squarerootspodcast@gmail.com.
If you absolutely cannot be bothered to send an email, please come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast Group for Smart, Cool, Very Attractive Ryans. Actually, that's better. That's where we hang out. It's a good place to be. And Beeskeet us at squarerootspod.beeskeet.social.
Oh, I gotta get the credentials for that and log in so I can pretend to be Vanessa.
I don't know how to get it to you because I never go in there, and I should.
Please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Ghana, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks to Stephen Morris for our Square Roots theme. You can find Stephen on YouTube. Links in the show notes.
Hey, check out our YouTube, the Square Roots Podcast. I don't know, youtube.com/Square Roots Podcast.
It's on the real account now.
We're doing a lot of streaming lately. Jim and I played Final Fantasy VI and streamed the whole thing. We are currently streaming Chrono Trigger, and it's a good time. Johnny has also been showing up in a big part of it, and Vanessa promises that she's going to do it soon. And she did. And she did. And we are having a very good time. It's a lot of fun. It's more conversational than explanatory. We're not really running through.
Sometimes we forget that Jim's
we're playing the game
and then just talk about stuff.
I mean, Jim was doing it to me when I was playing Final Fantasy VI. So it is a really good time, though. Lots of people are showing up in the chat. We're having fun chit-chatting and playing classic JRPGs. And check us out on YouTube, Square Roots Podcast. And for the Square Roots Podcast, I'm Matthew Gallerbeast Van Zandt.
Not any other nicknames. I'm Johnny Brandon.
And
Sorry, you're right. Let's start it over.
Yeah.
No, let's start it over. I'm Matthew Big Nuts Van Zandt.
Big old truck nuts. I'm Johnny Grapefruit Nuts Brandon.
And I'm Ryan.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Ryan.